Sync on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Digi.
Nice. Hello, everyone. Welcome
Tablet.
Wacom tablets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the ProAnon Drawcast.
Sponsored by Wacom.
Sponsored by Wacom. Not sponsored. Don't get us sued.
But if you want Wacom, you can sponsor us.
Please do. I could use something other than this Turkum that I'm using right now. But we're the only members of the ProAnon cast that are worth a damn. The ones that can draw. And today, we have a very special guest, Digi-née.
Hello! I can draw too now. I did an animation.
Oh my god.
Oh, yes. The fucking Iron Chan, right?
Yeah. I drew Iron Chan. And
that was very fun.
She did a little dance. It's a 2-frame animation. But
that's still animation. That still counts.
I showed the drawings to May, and she said, "What the fuck? You can draw now." And I was like, sure, I guess so.
Yeah.
Glory. We also have Dune-kun.
Hello. I'm being introduced second because Sito doesn't know how things work. You introduce the guest last.
Nah, I'm introducing her first. This is my show. I can do what I want. You can't stop me.
You're right. Whoever's last can just reintroduce me.
This is true. We have Simon.
Bishop Potpourri is a pharmacy. Hi.
That song was great.
Thank you. Link that in the description. Eleazar, put that in.
Yeah.
And your humble hostess, me, Sito. And also Digi, our guest. We're introducing her again.
Yeah,
we're doing it again.
You guys can't see it because I'm recording like the paper that I'm going to draw on. So it's a top-down camera. Everybody can see my painted nails that are all chipped and fucked up because I did them like weeks ago and haven't.
But that's cool. That's a cool look.
But even cooler than that is the fact that you can see drifting over the page the shadow of the smoke from the blunt that I'm smoking.
Oh fuck yes, that's awesome.
Wafting over. It makes it worth having wasted all of your time by rolling this blunt. Telling you I needed 10 minutes to set up, in which time I rolled and lit a blunt.
I fucking knew. I was like, she's probably getting her weed ready. That's what she's doing.
It's a vibe. We'll just put a smoke. Put a smoke effect over the rest of ours.
It's like I because of the fact that I asked what time the podcast was and then forgot to actually check back to see what was said about what time it was. And then at the time that it was at is the exact time that I was going to say I could not do because I had to go get May at that time from getting her hair dyed pink. And then it so happened. What was that?
How'd that turn out, by the way?
It looks phenomenal. You're gonna find out soon, I assure you.
Yeah,
you'll probably find out long before this podcast is out. Possibly before this podcast is over, if she gets on Instagram. If she gets off the phone with her mom. But that got combined with also having to go pick up weed, and then I came home and smoked some of the weed, and then I lazily made my way to the office, whereupon I was going to record episode 5 of Befriending the Internet. And as I sat down to start recording, I see messages saying, "Oh, are you going to be on the Drawcast from an hour ago?" And I'm like, "Oh, fuck." Shit. And then I'm like,
at least you're on brand.
I thought you guys were all just doing it because I saw everybody in the call and I was like, "Oh, I can come in late if that's fine." And you're like, "Oh, we've been waiting." And I was like, "Well, in that case, let me take my time and smoke another blunt and then I'll be great." And now I feel amazing and I've got cool smoke effects on my screen. So let's get this party started.
Yeah.
We were just watching Seinfeld, which is what we do in the server, aside from warring about tits and ass. But okay, we're starting with
Wait, we're starting, but what's our topic today?
Oh, today, if you can see my screen, which you can, because I'm recording, because I'm a very clever girl, we're doing our OCs this week. Everyone's brought references of their OCs so we can draw each other's OCs. Everyone gets 3 free shitty commissions. It's great. Done in 10 minutes. And we're starting with Dune-kun because that's the way I've ordered my layers that I named.
With this girl?
Yeah.
This goyle?
Yeah, this is Fuko from my light novel called Another Isekai Light Novel.
Talk about it while we draw.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's just get started.
Okay, we're
All right,
starting.
are we starting the clock?
Got the wrong fuck. Oh yeah, so this character, I gotta draw and talk. This is the worst show we've ever made.
Is she?
I do it all the time.
Is the depictions in this image? Would you say that this is like her general demeanor? Like,
Oh, she's like a fucking schizo. She stays. Her daily routine
Okay.
is getting drunk and staring at the ceiling fan.
okay, so I could just draw myself as her, and it'll be fine.
Lol.
Oh snap! I could try and do a thing that might be cool.
I'm just thinking schizo. I've been big into schizo shit lately.
Yeah, they've been bountiful.
Well, the way that like, okay, like, you know, being a weirdo on the internet, I've been doing that since I was a kid. They didn't have any like words for it yet. And
Except
like
for autists.
Yeah.
they didn't have that back then.
Yeah.
The 2000s, people did not call each other autists. That's a 2010s thing. It's funny, like May even had that in school because like her school had like a lot of autistic kids, so like calling each other autistic was a thing for her in high school, but not for me at all. That was not something like I did have autistic kids at my school, but that was not like a known phenomenon to people as like a meme, like a cultural consciousness idea. But yeah, there's been a lot more of like, because I mean everybody on the internet's kind of an autist, so the idea of like, oh, you're an autist is like, yeah, no shit, like I'm on the internet. But there's like specifically a type of internet poster who are the schizo posters, and like there's a gradient, a subtle gradient of like self-awareness and IQ and like comprehensibility, like actual ability to be comprehensible. But like the comprehensibility is a learned skill, and the IQ and self-awareness contribute to it. But you need to have those and then work on it in order to become comprehensible. And when I read like the posts of schizos online, they all make perfect sense to me because they read like how I actually think before I taught myself to be comprehensible. And so I think a lot of my audience tends towards being internet schizos who literally look up to me because I make sense, and like most people don't. Sure. Not only do most people not make sense to them, but they don't make sense to most people. And so like hearing somebody who like talks like them and makes sense, because they don't all sound like each other. Like they all have their own interpretations of the same basic concepts. Like everyone's schizo post is the same schizo post. It's the same thing that anybody who's been on DMT it's the same as a drug rant, because it's just like when you have really like intense emotions, then you eventually catch on to the fact that like everything in nature has the same like core emotions behind it. Like it's all driven by the same spiral energy, if you will. So and anime is by and large just schizo posting, but like,
oh, for sure.
but comprehensible enough to be like accessible. I mean, I guess all art is schizo posting, but comprehensible enough to be accessible. But it's just like I guess all communication really is schizo posting, because everybody deep inside is a schizo, but only some people are honest about it. And most people spend most of their lives closing out their feelings as opposed to trying to like understand them. But like the schizos are out there trying to figure out why their minds are like this. They're like, I'm out here void gazing. I'm out here trying to solve the fucking problems in my brain so that I can solve the problems in society, because the problems in society are what caused the problems in my brain. But, what are those problems and how do I fix them? And every schizo has their own answers. And, your answers sound really plausible in your mind. You don't really understand why other people don't think it's plausible.
Yeah, the internal logic makes total sense.
The answer is communism.
Probably,
but
most likely.
Whenever I talk to the schizos and I just try to like peel back what they're saying, I usually agree with them on like the emotional level. Like there's a guy who's been telling me that the world is shrinking.
I remember
and
you
that,
mentioning this.
Yeah, and like most places aren't real. I keep bringing this up because he's trying to find more like activated people because he thinks most people are not real, and there are certain tests you can perform to find out who is or isn't real. Sometimes people you think are real turn out not to be, or vice versa.
Please send him to the server. I want to talk to him.
I could ask him if he wants to come on. Get
him on the Drawcast right now.
He's a nice guy. But it's just like, the interactions with a lot of those people can be really intense. I mean, that guy is not so intense because he's self-aware. A lot of them are not as much, or if they are, they don't really know how to deal with the fact that they're not. So it's like, there's nowhere really to go in communication. And I realize that I'm probably describing a lot of the listeners who are feeling very like seen right now, but you are seen. That's why you should come onto the server and hang out with other people like you.
Come to the ProAnon cast server, not the Digi server.
Is this girl?
That's what I meant.
Of schizo is this girl?
My server has enough. is already filling up with trans eggs. So
that's what your server is. I checked it out a bit. I was like, you know what? I don't want to get fucked in the ass as much as these people do.
Yeah, so, I mean that's kind of a new development.
But consider getting fucked in the ass.
What was that? Consider
getting fucked in the ass. By the way, 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, you convinced me, so I'll give it a shot.
Oh yeah, that's it. Bend over, bitch.
I'm open to new possibilities.
Talk about your character for 3 minutes.
Fucking just read the book. What do you want? This is just an ad for my book.
Yeah, I know.
Read that. Oh yeah, I'm not good at shilling things.
All right, fine. Then you don't get to.
Channel your inner Jeff Fu. You can do it.
Oh yes. Welcome to Mother's you guys like isekai stories? No? Then you'll like my book because it's not a isekai story. It's about a girl going to another world, but it has very little in common.
It's not an isekai.
Standard. It is an isekai technically, but it has very little to do with its contemporaries.
It's not a trad isekai.
I mean, Digimon is an isekai.
That's true.
One of the first isekais.
It has very little fantasy elements. I'll say that. It's very grounded.
Jun-kun, you were on a Team Tits, right?
No,
you were not on. Okay,
I'm an ass man.
Well, I'm just saying that this girl has rockin' tits in this image, so I thought maybe
Dune is an appreciator of tits, but he's not.
Although I guess now that I look at it, she also does have a nice ass. So I guess you just got to look for it.
The tits versus ass question is not what is like good. It is, would you rather have a girl with nice tits and no ass, or nice ass and no tits?
Oh, absolutely, nice ass and no tits. Like 1,000%, no question. Like anybody who would say the opposite, I don't know what's wrong.
Is a crazy person and or a child? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with them is that they are tit fags.
Yeah, that is the word we use to describe them.
Fair enough.
I'm an ass man living in a trash can. I don't know the next line.
Flies laying eggs in my dick, save me, Lord Sands.
Yes, there you go. Whenever I re-listen to that album, I tend to skip that song just because it's a little too grody for me.
Look, I had just got with May when I wrote that song, and I just was like, I want to describe every time that we have had sex that all happened in the span of like, a week, 2 weeks at that point. Like all of it in one song, like every single thing described as like violently and insanely as possible, like as if it was all happening at once.
Right.
In one epic fucking explosion. A monsoon. As I describe it in the song.
As you say.
Oh, we only have 2 minutes. How many minutes do we have left? I wasn't paying attention. 1 minute. I fucked this up. I was not paying attention. I know.
I'm almost done. I was surprised how easy it is to draw her.
I was lulled into a false sense of security by Digi's voice. I was like, I'm just relaxing, hanging out with friends, listening to Digi. And,
Digi is very relaxing.
That's how I'm able to make such long-ass content, because you don't realize how long it is. Because it just goes on and on and on, and you feel like...
Fuck.
Alright, well, I have to turn this around so it's actually visible to the camera. Well, I guess you'll just have to flip my footage upside down because I'm filming it all upside down.
Look, it's okay. Dune will handle it. Dune, sweetie, you'll handle it, right?
I will.
You also might want to like white balance it and brighten it up.
I got it. I don't
fuck!
know.
I need to add cigarette smoke. Fuck.
I guess I can grab my phone and just take a picture of this to show you.
Ga-dink.
Or I can...
Yeah, that's it. I guess pens
Epic.
down.
This is fucked.
Dude, you messed up your own thing.
I told you, I was relaxing. I was just vibing.
Dude, I'm sure it looks fine. You're a fool.
He was just vibing.
Okay. And I was like, oh shit, I need to like add colors and shit. All right, here's my girl.
One moment, let me tab over.
Sent to the Drawcast.
Hey! Oh, she's looking cool.
Oh my god, that's just me in high school. I love that.
Hold on, I'm screen capping mine. I can't look at yours yet.
It's fine. Yeah, she's very... What's like passive aggressive, but like bipolar? That's what it is. I was gonna ask, well,
yes.
passive aggressive like times 10, and that's just bipolar.
BPD, I think, is what you're looking for. Borderline personality.
Bipolar disorder.
Oh yeah, that's a great. I think BPD is borderline personality disorder.
Yeah, it is borderline personality disorder, which is very very.
I mean, they're practically
very
the
black
same
and white
fucking
thinking.
thing. Like, it's all. I mean, that is schizo. Like, it's the same. Like, it's just like. Like, I think that guy schizos tend to become like introverts, and girl schizos tend to become like burn through guys, if you know what I mean. Like, just the opportunities are different. All right, here's my.
I posted mine.
Simon.
We gotta watch. Yeah, we gotta look at Simon's.
Look,
Simon.
all I'm saying is to investigate Bill Gates.
She's not claiming anything. She's just saying that it would not be harmful to do some investigation. That's all.
Yeah.
She's the type of schizo who would like, well, because she doesn't talk to people. She would never say that to someone.
I see.
She'd be like on her Windows computer and be like, I should investigate Bill Gates, and then like,
What a Chad.
and then like try to find Bill Gates.
Hey.
Digi, yours looks fucking cool.
I mean, it's literally just the picture that was there. I just
This
copied
reminds
it
me of, like-
I couldn't think of anything fast enough to draw 10 minutes.
It's giving me like Daria vibes.
Oh yeah, that is shit. It is
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, Daria is like that kind of chick. Like, she's always like schizo-posting on people, like just fucking breaking down conspiracies and blackpilling people and shit. So.
Oh yeah. Here's mine.
Whoa, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very cool.
and like Dean said, yeah, she's just staring at the fan and like staring at the fan. You say?
Yeah. The beginning scene of the book is her rolling out of bed, drunk, and like laying on the floor and staring at the fan for like 10 pages.
Sick.
Glorious.
Yeah, because that's just how she lives her life.
That's how we should all live.
This
our
sounds
lives.
like even more of it like a actual light novel than my light novel. Like it's a true light novel in like the spirit of the OGs, which is to say, the story of someone sitting in the room losing their fucking mind and nothing else.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like just looking at these images feels like I'm reading Welcome to the NHK again.
Oh my god, I love NHK. That's kind of yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is very influential. NHK is the best.
I would imagine if you wrote about a girl staring at a fan for 10 minutes.
Everything I make is about people being.
When you say she's staring at a fan for 10 minutes, is it like should I imagine in my mind? Because when you say something like that, I imagine you mean that it will take me 10 minutes of reading to complete her staring at a fan. Is that how I should interpret that? Like, is it that like I am
he said 10
in
pages,
her monologue,
so...
or is it just like a sentence
mean
where
10
it says
pages.
like,
Okay.
oh, 10 pages?
No, not 10 pages. That's a lot. I said that. I was like, that's too much pages.
Lol.
Maybe 10 real book pages, not 10 Word doc pages.
Okay. So like, but I would
spends
have
a lot
the
of time.
sense. It like, do you think it would take me like 10 minutes to read through the section where she's staring at the fan? Because that would be what I imagine when I think 10 minutes staring at a fan. Because if I actually spend 30 minutes reading that section about her staring at a fan for 10 minutes, then it's going to feel like I'm in a time warp. You know?
Oh yeah.
I wish. I gotta. Never mind. Don't read it. I have to fix it.
Who's up next?
I've like zoned out through this entire conversation, and I'm just thinking about that one page that has nothing but song lyrics in, and now I've forgotten the name of the light novel.
Now I'm just thinking about that one part in Homestuck where they explain troll romance, and then they do it again.
Yes, no, I know Digi's like, because Digi's the reason I know about this. It's like, God, because it's like, it's the one.
Are you talking about in
one.
Boogie Pop where it's just no
Yes.
one, no one, no one, no one, no
Yes,
one, no
yes.
one, no one,
No
no
one
one,
lives
no one, no
forever.
one, no one, no one, no one lives
No
forever.
one lives forever.
Hey!
Yeah, that's it.
When I actually
That's
like
what I was thinking
heard
of.
that song, I think it took years between me reading that book and actually getting to hear that song, and like I did not expect it to be like a bouncy, upbeat, like manic, fun
my
song.
goodness.
Like in my head, it was like a dark, like dismal, like Joy Division. You know, like no one, no one, no one. You know,
Right.
like
Who did that one? I forget.
Oingo Boingo.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why
I remember-
it's a kooky, weird, off the wall thing.
It was one of the songs my dad liked, so like when I read it like in my head I was trying to read it as fast as like the song was going in my head.
That's excellent.
Yes. Okay. Speaking of excellent, it's my turn. It's your turn to draw my OC now.
Yeah.
My perfect boy. My precious baby.
Wait a minute.
Okay, wait.
a minute.
It's this
The
like
elf- the
elf
purple
creature,
elf.
right?
The purple elf.
Elf.
Okay, so this is a
Creature.
boy. I have
He
to
is
know.
a boy. He looks like a girl, but he is a boy.
He's a femboy.
He's a femboy.
I thought I was one of those ones.
Didn't we all? Well, I mean, we should probably start before you start explaining about the character.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you guys like a few seconds to like. Yeah, he's a Arachne. Here's the best thing: he's trans. He was a woman, and now he is a fanboy. He transitioned into a fanboy.
Excellent. Okay.
Honestly, ideal.
Yeah, I mean, I you know, now that you've said that, I see the character in a more relatable light.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it started. Hold on, I'll get everyone got their references that they need.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a pile.
My fucking pens aren't working. What is this shit?
Do you think if I transition to female and then transition back to male like 1,000 times, I keep rebounding, I could be like a perfect gender like ambiguity?
Yeah.
I could truly become gender
that
neutral.
needs to happen in the light novel. Well, something kind of like that might happen in mine anyway. But
that's gonna happen in my real life.
The ultimate gender fluid is just to go between all genders until you decide that you're non-binary.
Now I want to be in a superposition, like a quarter.
I mean, like non-binary is one of those just catch-all terms that could basically mean anything. Like, you know, it's like there's sometimes in our society where it's like you just have the other tab, you know, but the other tab is actually 600 other tabs that are all like have 3 things in them instead of 70. And like I think that's kind of where my audience falls, is in the other tab, which is a difficult place to be because none of them are exactly the same, or else it would be easy. Mm-hmm. But they're not. It's just like the Libertarian Party. Like even though I think most Americans would be libertarians if the Libertarian Party wasn't actually like just literally everybody has a completely different opinion, because that's what it is to be a libertarian, is to not be affiliated, and therefore, you know, it's literally the other tab. It's like you can't organize the other tab, or can you? They just have to, you know, they have to recognize that they have more alike than different and come together over their similarities, just like in my Japanese animes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the ultimate. Okay, I'm gonna start the timer now.
Yep.
And then
I already started. I started a while. I thought we were going.
You
no,
bitch.
we are
Good. I would have spent so much time on these eyes. I would have had no time for anything else.
Glorious. Okay, so this is my boy Arachne. He's so my boyfriend, the magical character that we were all introduced to, who brought me toast, that I've already finished. He runs a D&D game. He's been running one for like 4 years. And I made Arachne, and initially it was just going to be like a normal drow, but then he made like a drow variant because the drow had been on the surface for so long, because drow live underground, and so he's a surface drow instead. And I made him
like,
Tran.
Is Drow like a D&D thing?
Yeah, it's like Dark Elf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I like Dark. I thought it was a Dark Elf.
They're a matriarchal Dark Elf society with spiders.
I didn't know that was a thing, but now I want to be one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
but I thought you hated in tabletop RPGs, did you?
Tabletop RPGs is like, okay, I don't know what like I don't know what crew I need to be like to have the right energy, you know, for like I tried to do a tabletop RPG with my friends before. I tried to do D&D with my friends. I played the most insincere character imaginable.
I seem to recall the name of that character. Are you going to say it?
Not on this podcast.
Okay.
You can say anything on this podcast, please.
You
know how many Jew jokes we make?
That's fine.
So many.
I know it.
But the you know, I mean, the nature of my character was just to be like literally just whatever. Like I had 5,000 bottles of ale that I started the game with, and I solved all my problems with ale, which was like a fun way to play, but in a sense, but it's just like I really never wanted to commit to creating a like fictional identity because I knew that I would pour what I want into it, and I don't want to admit what I want, you know? So it's like, in order for me to play that kind of game, I would need to be playing it with people who I felt like I could, you know, be completely honest with myself in my role play. You know what I mean? And I don't know who I would be willing to play with. But at this point, probably anybody.
Yeah, we play tabletop games on this channel.
My feelings are completely out now, so there's nothing really to be insincere about, even especially in a fantastical context. Nobody's going to make fun of me for sincerely playing a lolly mage at this point, I don't think.
I mean, I will, but it'll be in good spirits.
It's okay. I'm playing a lolly rogue, so
I have to show you because we were going to do early into the formation of the PCP as a Skype group before it was even a podcast. We were going to do a D&D game where Mage was going like drew all of our characters like
Deep
and
lore?
I was going to be like a lolly mage and like a little I was like this little pixie bunny thing. I still have the art on my computer. I could probably show you later after I'm done.
Yeah, I want to see that. That's some deep lore stuff that I'm really into.
But yeah, it just never ended up happening. Like we never organized ourselves. Like we've had so many times that we're like, oh, shouldn't the PCP obviously do like a D&D game? And then everybody goes, yeah, that seems obvious, right? And then it doesn't happen.
Wait, Digi, are you telling me the PCP had plans to do something cool but didn't do it? That sounds out of character.
I mean, look, I have the amount of plans I have to do something cool that I don't talk about cosmically dwarfs the number of ones that I do talk about that don't get done. So I'm in a perpetual state of self-disappointment way before any of you are able to be. Like,
oh my gosh, Digi, I've realized now that you're here and I can talk to you. How would you feel about being on an Utana cast?
I would absolutely do that, especially because I'm now dating Utana because May literally just got her hair Utana pinked.
Was that inspired by that discussion you were having where like you are Anthe and she's Utana? Or was
partially. I think that's part of how she's externalizing her inner concept of that, I think.
Yeah.
I think
just like when Kim Kardashian watched fucking Darling in the Franxx, she dyed her hair pink.
I think May is a little bit more than just a lesbian.
Fair. 100% fair.
Are you going to follow suit and do blackface for Anthony?
You know, it's really funny. I've been having an, I don't know if I would call this an argument, but I disagreed with May because she does not think blackface is funny. And I'm like, how can you not?
It depends on the situation.
Oh, well, obviously, but like to suggest that it could never, like, I mean, there's, okay. So like what made us bring it up or talk about it was that Nick Rikita, the lawyer, popular on YouTube, did blackface infamously once, and there's images of it online. But the reason he had done it is that he was at his black friend's birthday party and was dressed as him.
Oh, I remember this, actually.
Yeah. it was something that had been like everybody knew this was going to happen. You know, everybody knew he was coming this way. So like, I mean, whether that's really defensible or not is yeah, of course. Like, yeah. I mean, he probably wouldn't have done it with a friend he didn't think was going to think that was funny. You know,
of course, yeah.
So like, I mean. I don't know. It's just like, for me, like, you could choose to see that as, racist or just unfunny. I understand why you could think it's just not funny, which is what May was sort of saying. But I was like, I don't know. I think, like, the concept of it is obviously hilarious. It just, like, has to be in a context where it is funny, you know?
Like, in my mind, I'm like, there's a history here where I don't feel necessarily comfortable thinking of this as a joke. But like, I can definitely understand the sentiment.
Imagine if that history wasn't there. Or if nobody gave a shit, then it would be funny again. Like, everybody thinks it's fucking hilarious to beat up on white people right now because white people are literally we have the power and the prejudice. So it's like, yeah, okay, like, we don't even care. Like, imagine being in our position. Imagine actually having the privilege, and then, like, blackface would be funny in that scenario, you know?
Oh, yeah. You have to just destroy systemic racism. By the way, guys, 3 minutes.
Well, it's just you always have to have yourself. I try to look at everything in the superposition of being absolutely true and absolutely false at the same time. And so, like, is blackface racist? Absolutely. Yes and no. Like, I totally understand both, and I agree with both. I agree with, like, the reasoning why it would be absolutely one or the other, you know, that there would be no middle ground.
Yeah, at the very least, I can understand and rationalize the reasoning of both sides.
Right, exactly. But, like, where do I really fall? Well, it's gray, you know?
You see, in my mind, I'm just like, because it, in some situations, would make people feel uncomfortable, and that level of discomfort might outweigh the level of positive emotions. That is why it feels like bad touch to me. But that's just my weird little lefty cuck interpretation.
I think you certainly don't want if you are in a situation where it can be funny, you don't want it to leave that situation. It should certainly be like a what happens in blackface stays in blackface kind of situation.
Yeah.
You don't want it's meant for a certain scenario. It's not meant to escape. So keep your fucking, if you can't handle your scandal, then you can't be a politician. That's just the way it works. But you can be a comedian.
The perfect blackface scenario is like, you're just hanging out with your friends, you're on a front lawn, burning a cross.
Yeah, agreed. Inclined to agree.
I don't think the KKK would do blackface, because wouldn't they be deeply grossed out at the idea of being black at all?
No, but it's to ridicule them,
I don't.
It's no different than like dressing up as like a pig or a dog.
Okay, have you ever seen like how a conservative person reacts to you, like implying that they would enjoy dressing like a woman? Like. They don't have a positive reaction to that. Like, the implication alone is offensive.
Digi, that's because they want to dress like a woman.
Right, exactly. Well, they also probably want to be black because they're insecure about having small dicks and thinking black people all have big dicks. Like, it's always insecurity. Anything you fear, it's because you're insecure about that thing. So, like,
oh, damn.
And I watch it play out. I watch people out themselves all the time, and it's really funny. That's the real reason you should listen to like conservative shows is the hilarity of like the subtext of the things they're saying and like what they're closeting.
That's why I was extremely entertained that one time I went on the kill stream like a month ago.
That one dude, man, that dude who like I mean I don't want to like I've been like very careful because I don't want to out that guy in public because but I mean, just the fact that his fixations were the way that he changed his tune when he was like, he literally asked, okay, if anybody doesn't know, nobody knows what we're talking about. I'll break it down.
No, keep talking and then I can have more time to finish my thing.
Yeah, we'll stop drawing when did you
I have actually finished my drawing, so I can afford to talk.
I finished too.
Yeah, keep talking. I'm just adding shading now. I just like listening to Digi talk.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's almost like probably a uniting factor element of this podcast, isn't it?
Perhaps.
I've listened to you talk since I was like 15.
Yeah.
God, well,
Younger
that would
for me.
make you. I mean,
Tito's like 40.
Yeah, Sito
I'm
was
like
one of our oldest
69.
members.
I'm really getting like it's. I get weird feelings when you say things like, "I've been listening to you since I was 15," and I think things like, "Is there any difference in the meaning of the word influencer and groomer?"
Ooh, yes, because you're not doing it intentionally maliciously.
Grow me, mommy.
No,
so
I
talk
do.
about the Killstream guy, the guy in Killstream.
Oh yeah, that guy. Okay, so Killstream guy. The reason I was on that tangent is I was screen capping my image here, so I can bam put it in. There you go.
Did I miss it? Oops.
This is my excited puppy dog face version of the character.
Let's see.
Aww.
Aw, cute boy.
You didn't say the character's name.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, anyway, yeah, this guy on the kill stream, he's calling in to accost. I don't know. He's saying something about like trans is disgusting and degenerate or whatever. To May, who is a guest on this episode, for this segment, but this guy has like a thick Southern, very effeminate, like, you know, like a guy you would think sounded like a gay guy if you heard him speak. I mean, I don't know if that's gauche to say, but
No.
It's not.
It's
definitely not.
I think we all
Don't
know
make it.
there is a gay voice.
No, yeah,
and
because
this
you're
guy-
saying that and not intending to, like, be offensive. Yeah, that's totally fine.
What?
and
No.
well, I mean, I think it can be offensive in this case because I'm describing somebody who is not openly gay, but, you know, I'm just telling you that his voice is like this for the context of this story because what he starts fiercely trying to ask May, like, do you think that, like, being trans or being gay, like, could be the result of trauma? That, like, having something traumatic happen to you in your childhood could, like, contribute to it. And, like, he was, like, very aggressive throughout the conversation up to this point of asking this question. And May slows down and she says, I do think it's possible that, like, that could contribute, you know, like, having experienced trauma, like, I don't know how it could have affected me like that, you know? Yeah. And then his tune completely changes and he becomes, like, really, like, he's, like, really appreciative, and he's like, I'm so glad you said that, like, I'm so glad you gave an honest answer. Most people won't answer that question honestly. I'm so glad you answered it.
That guy.
And it was just like, okay, well, so you, in the way that you are responding right now, like,
You're
I don't know
yourself.
if you, I don't know if you appreciate it, but you are saying, I am somebody who has gay or trans thoughts, and I attribute it to the fact that I was, that I was sexually assaulted as a child, and I, am glad, like, and I think that because he thinks of it that way, and I think that it's a common way to think that that is the case, that, like, trauma must have contributed to it, because otherwise, why would I be like this? Mm-hmm. And, like, in my case, that was always confusing for me, because, like, most of the people that I relate to did experience some kind of trauma like that, but, like, I don't know how much of it is like, oh, the trauma caused this, and how much is this caused the trauma. You know, like, a little boy who looks like a little girl and is very effeminate is going to attract a certain kind of person to project onto them, you know?
Yeah, the PCP.
And so, like, it's easy to imagine that, like, people, well, I mean, it's hilarious. But she, like, to suggest that, that, like, it would be that it has to be that the abuse is what causes you to become this way, as opposed to that it could be the other way around. And, like, for me, I have at least no memory of ever having been abused as a kid. Like, I have no recollection of any physical abuse. And the reason I say that is, like, I know it's possible to repress those kinds of things, but, like, I don't think I did. And nobody around me has a story that they've, told me that I haven't heard. So like for me, it was always like, well, okay, if it's supposed to be the result of trauma, why would I be this way? You know, like I don't have any trauma. And then when I found out that gender identity develops when you're like, before you're like 4. Yeah. And I thought about like, what were my influences up to that point? And like, what was my life like in those early years? And it's like, yeah, okay, it makes perfect sense. I would think I was a girl because like all my interactions were with girls or with caretaker figures. Like, you know, my dad was not like around that much when I was a kid. And I just looked up to my mom, and that's all I've ever wanted to be, was like her, you know? But like, I think that for a lot of people, it's very difficult to be true to your intentions if you don't understand how to communicate with people. And like, my mom is somebody who, you know, her whole life was like a misfit and misunderstood. And, you know, she raised me from the perspective of a misfit, of like somebody who does not understand how to communicate with people and is on the outside, and like raised me to be okay with that. And so I was okay with that until I realized I wanted to interact with other people and understand them, and I couldn't do it. And nobody around me knew how to do it, you know? And like, I think there's a certain self-righteousness that you can get when you're like, well, all those people are wrong. Like, I am fine the way I am. Like, nothing I'm doing is breaking the law. I'm following all the rules. Why am I not allowed to just like wear a dress, you know, without getting shit for it? Like, what the fuck, you know, like, is it that big a deal? And like, I think that, you know, when you grow up, like, with more of society's expectations on you, then you repress that even harder, like, because it's like, oh, my parents will hate
you're trained
me, you know,
into, like, yeah, you are psychologically manipulated.
Right.
I mean, and isn't like people not liking other people wearing dresses, like, they perceive that as an attack on them in some ways. Like, if you're this way and I'm this way, which one of us is wrong? And they don't perceive that perhaps neither of you are wrong.
And the thing is, I think we all get it. I think we get it in our heads that like the people that like, it's just normies, like normal people are mad at you for being different. I don't think that's the case. I think it's weird people are mad at you for being openly weird when they can't. They can't manage to be openly weird because they're afraid.
Weirdos.
They don't think it's allowed. They think it's wrong. They think they're sinful. They think that, you know, all these things. They are repressing something that you are letting out. And so they see it and they're fucking pissed off. And it doesn't have to be that it's the exact same thing. It's just the fact that you are open and they are not, you know? And like, and it's that insecurity. And if they feel as though like they are justified in feeling insecure about you because of who you are, then they will dehumanize you and no longer, you know, they could treat you violently. And it's like, you know, growing up, understanding that because of the fact that like, you know, essentially I would consider myself to have been raised in an agender environment in the sense that my mom just let me do whatever I wanted.
It was a non-factor.
Yeah, and you know, I considered myself a boy because I was born that way. And so like for me, like the trans community kind of didn't make sense to me at first because you know, I kind of was I guess I would consider myself to have been at some point kind of a TERF in the sense that
excellent.
Because
finally something I can agree with.
I mean, cuz I was a feminist. Like, I was definitely before.
Oh, yeah. I remember you said, like, gender fluid is kind of sexist because there's an implication that you should be this way or that way. Exactly.
Right. And so, well, in my mind, I think it's because, and it's funny because I became Mrs. I have to, like, I'm trying to break the habit of saying Mr. all the time. I call myself Mr. something all the time. I am Mrs. You know, objectivity doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's because in my mind, I've always been arguing that like no words have concrete meanings. So like, let's stop pretending that there is this thing called objective and we all like believe that it's real. And what I should have been doing is just saying like, okay, like I recognize that, but I'm going to participate in the system on the down low. You know, like, yeah, sure, that is objectively true. Wink, wink, you know, like fingers crossed behind my back. Because, like, you know, like I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, for me, coming out as a woman is like a way to make it so that if I behave true to myself, it won't be confusing. Like, if I suddenly start acting the way that I really feel, it's going to be the way that people think a girl acts, you know? And, like, even if it is kind of anti-feminist to suggest that, I guess I consider it just being realistic about what, like, gender actually is in society. Like,
Digi says being anti-feminist is realistic.
Well, no, it's all about social comfort. That's literally all it is.
Yeah,
I mean, the problem with feminist, this is why I hate the term feminist, because it has multiple definitions, you know? Like, there's multiple different ideas of what feminism is. Does it just mean equal rights for everybody? Because if so, absolutely, I'm a feminist.
Technically, yes, but people don't think it means that.
Sweetie, Angel, all words have multiple meanings because everyone interprets all words subjectively.
I know.
And solely.
Because objectivity doesn't fucking exist.
It's such a fucking nightmare to like try to live in a world where everybody is relying on words in order to communicate, and then you're just like, no word means enough, like means a concrete enough thing to me for me to feel confident in a sentence. Like,
right.
When I write every sentence, like I think my writing is honestly a lot more confusing than my unscripted content, and people don't realize it because a lot of what I'm saying in my writing just like people just gloss over it. Like, I say a lot of weird, confusing shit that like just means something to me, but I don't really communicate it well. And like sometimes I watch my own videos back and there's lines where I'm like, what the fuck was that line? Like, nobody called me out on this. Nobody points it out because people just think they're dumb and don't get it. Like, they just think, it must have just gone over my head. Like, no, I don't know. You said some smart words.
Your head. I don't know.
And it's like, no, I'm just saying crazy shit. Like, I am saying shit that doesn't make sense. And like people are just glossing over it. I do it all the time.
It could be both, I feel like.
By the way, time's been up for a while now.
Let's look at
I
these.
think we've all posted. I mean, all I can see is Dune-kun asking to be fag preggers. So,
Digi, have you seen?
Wow,
the fag
Cecil,
preggers
that
video?
was fantastic. Did you draw that in just this 10 minutes?
No, she took some liberties.
I drew most of it in the 10 minutes. I just did some shading because I was bored.
Yeah,
most of the sluts were down.
Spectacular.
I really love the whole attitude and pose and everything.
Yeah.
He's my boy, so I vibe with him.
Arachne's a Chad.
I like how you guys are just like boy slip fag pluggers. You just took my meme and you put it on my D&D character.
Yeah.
It's like weird how all these characters feel congruent to me. Like, these interpretations they all make sense as the same person in a very like robust way, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they 100% do, because Arachne is a slut. That's his name, by the way. His name's Arachne. He is a slut. He fucks really hard. He uses protection. And he's in a polycule with an orc girlfriend and a halfling boyfriend.
Amazing.
He's a shithead. He's just me, but worse, because he's a man.
Of course.
And he doesn't use baby talk. That's the thing that I'm sure you'll like about him.
Well, I'm out then.
No
longer beg.
Baby talk is a must-have.
No longer beg. Can't simp for him anymore. He doesn't go, oh whoa, daddy.
I don't. Well, I mean, never mind. I'm not gonna go ahead.
You just want my
I can't figure out what I need. I can't find the words.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you come back to them, let us know.
Yeah. Going way back to the first thing you said about him, like that guy wanting to like desperately put the way he feels onto his trauma. A person is like all of their experiences, right, including their trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yes,
it doesn't matter what caused the way you feel, dude. That's the way you are, and you can either be true to it or make yourself miserable. It doesn't matter what caused it. That's part of you now.
It's about moving forward.
You only are really whoever you are in this exact moment, like the exact thing you are doing right now. The past doesn't exist. It is not there. It is like, it does physically exist
No,
it doesn't.
I don't think
right?
It
so.
does not exist.
mean-
You only have memories that it existed, which could be fake.
It's purely
And it's planted you.
conceptual, the past.
How is it that you? Okay,
online.
this is something that's confused me for a while. I know we have taken a photo of like a much earlier point in the universe. Is that just because of the fact that that light has taken that long to get to us that we can just now see it?
I think it has to do with like radiation imprints and stuff.
Oh my
No,
God.
Digi had it right. That's how long it
Okay.
takes to. Because
Okay.
light can only travel so fast.
Yeah.
Stars out there are dead. Ones we will see tonight have been dead for centuries, and we just haven't gotten to see them die.
The
yet.
lights in the sky are stars where our femboy cousins await us.
One that they will guide us forward into the ever bright future. The next person we're drawing, by the way, because we are drawing. I know we've forgotten that talking to Digi. 'Cause
Yeah.
she's so engaging. But we're drawing her next.
Ooh.
Ah! All right. Oh my God, I get to draw myself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How, I
Ultimate
mean,
goal.
you know.
Get your Digi pics ready, and I'll be right back, and then we'll start as soon as
I should send you. Okay, since you're gonna take a small break, I will send a picture of what I'm wearing right now, and you can incorporate that because I'm wearing the flyest patterns.
Oh, yeah,
you've
let's
ever
see
seen,
that.
so. I have posted a picture of me in the chat so you can
Let's
see what
see.
I'm wearing currently.
This is very California.
Ooh.
Ooh, I like those leggings.
That is, I'm wearing ninja pants.
Oh hell yeah!
that
Fits
I
you a
got.
ninja.
Somebody sent me in a care pack once. Or not
What are
a
you
care
buying?
Oh, I
these?
remember that.
I'd love to have some.
I have no idea. As I said, they were sent to me, so
Ninja pants.
Well, this is so cool.
I mean, I assume on Amazon.
On the internet.
Hey, Digi. If you were to be in any village in Naruto, which one would it be?
Ooh.
I don't know any of them other than the Hidden Leaf Village.
Well, there's the sand bitches. There's the...
There's there's the one that Naruto's family. Hold on, I'll start.
Wait, we
the timer.
didn't. Okay.
I'm starting now. Okay, so
Oh,
like
shit.
Naruto's
Wait,
mom
whose
is,
OC are we doing? Oh, we're doing me.
Yours.
We're doing
You're
you.
We're doing you.
What does Digi even
Naruto.
look like?
Lol. Naruto's mom is from the village hidden in the Ebbies or something. It's the Uchiho. It's like the spiral one that uses spiral energy.
yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's the one you'd be from. I figured it out.
The Spiral Energy Village.
Yeah.
I would have to consume more of Naruto to like.
That's unnecessary.
I found out that Sasuke married Sakura and that he never sees her and they had a daughter and they named her Salad. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to my gay fan fiction that I read in high
I
school.
love salad.
I can't believe they named her Salad.
Mm-hmm.
I betrayed by Sasuke Uchiha, the one person I thought I could trust.
Are the big glasses still a part of the image or?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I can find ways to incorporate them, but like, I kind of see it. I had this tweet on my Girl in the Gray Matter account that I briefly used. I'm fucking up this drawing. I do not know what I'm trying to draw. I gotta open up an actual. I can't like draw without a reference in 10 minutes, so it's just like I've just been copying the pictures basically. But yeah, like shit. Ask me the question again. I forgot what I was saying.
I
was
forgot
I
what I
answering
fucking
your
asked you.
question?
Oh, the glasses. The
there were
glasses.
some glasses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I had a tweet where I was saying that like sunglasses are for people who are trying to hide their emotions or run away from them, whereas fashion is for people who are trying to showcase their emotions and embrace them. And it's sort of like sunglasses are my method of avoiding having to do fashion. Like if you wear sunglasses, then it's just like that is the look. That is the whole look, is that you've got these, especially when you're wearing big fucking super memorable round sunglasses. So to me, it's basically just like cruise control for a character. And like because of the fact that I was doing vlogs all the fucking time, like early on it was really hard for me to get into doing vlogs because I would fuss over the lighting and my appearance and like, you know, just like feel like I looked like shit every single time, and like I just cared too much about the presentation. And then I was watching Max Landis, who was doing like all these vlogs where he would just open up his laptop and fucking go, and he could just rant about anything. So I realized, like, I had this policy of I don't want to make any content I would not watch myself. And when I realized that I was watching these like super low quality vlogs just because they were interesting, I was like, okay, well then I'll do that. So like the thinking behind the sunglasses is like, okay, you know, I'm if I'm just in like a dark room and I'm wearing sunglasses, in like black shirts, you basically can't see me. I basically am just an apparition, you know, hidden by a beard, that, you know, sulks around this room and watches anime. And like the more I lean into it, the more it will feel like a character as opposed to just like, you know, literally a guy, like just literally a dude in his room. But like, you know, there's no room for that character to express anything because you cannot see the character's eyes. Like,
right.
You know, I don't have the most expressive face. I tend to just look around the room and not like, you know, be that direct about how I'm feeling. But I do have very expressive hands and I gesticulate a lot. And like, when I actually, like, in all those vlogs, I'm like, you know, a lot of them I pick up the camera and I'm running around. But when I have it, like, posed and I'm standing in front of it and I'm actually moving, I think that you get a lot more of, like, my personality in that. And so I think that maybe part of why people liked the After Dark saga so much is, you know, people always attribute it to, like, oh, it was you in your room. But it's like, it's also was like me, like literally full body on screen moving, like you're actually having, like I am actually there, you know?
Yeah, there's a presence there
out in my lounge room.
Isn't there in a scripted video or a video, even a rant where you aren't showing your face.
Or you know, like, I started doing lots and lots of podcasts. I started doing a lot more of the vlogs would have May in them, and I would be stationary. And part of that was also because when I moved out of my house, like my office was so small I couldn't do shit in it. So like, you know, just the ability to move around the space and be kinetic in that way was kind of gone. And that's why, like, when I moved to Boston and I did the Gecko Estate vlogs, they were all like about just like manically running around because it was like I wanted to show off, like, hey, I have space again, and like this is going to become a cool location that you're going to be excited to see once I fill it with stuff. I never filled it with stuff because I never had any money while I lived there. So instead I moved, and like with the Rainbow Ranch, the concept was, okay, this time I will make each room of the house a different color theme, and each style of video I do will have a different personality and character who lives in that room. And like I will go between them. But then once I set up the color room, I was like, well, like in order for me to be like multiple, like, okay, I guess just for me, like showing any emotions whatsoever, or any amount of creativity, sincere creativity, I'm always terrified is just going to be seen as cringe. And I know a lot of people will see it as cringe because it will be cringe. Like, and I know it will be cringe because any time I've ever been sincere in my life, it has been cringe. So it's just like, you know, I mean, really, it's partially a product of who you surround yourself with. Do you surround yourself with people who constantly cringe, you know, or do you surround yourself with people who are more open to things, you know? And
hey, Digi.
Yeah.
You know, you being honest and like low-key cringe was actually like something that really, like, I really valued in your content because it helped me feel like I could be honest about myself. Full homo. I really respected that.
I never liked Digi stuff. That was pretty cringe.
Didn't you? I thought that was like a 20-minute video about how much you love Digi.
That wasn't me.
Well, see, but that's the thing is that, like, people have always said that. Like, the response I've always gotten has been like, oh, you know, I appreciate, like, the honesty, the sincerity, blah, blah, blah. But, like, to me, all of my content is, like, about and saying the same thing. So, like, when I make a song, to me, it's the exact same thing as making like an analysis video. Like it comes from the same place. It takes the same amount of time and mental energy. It's like the same level of expression of like, I had an idea, I ran with it, and here's the result, you know? And so like, when I tried to start doing things like other than just talking about anime, like say talking about video games, or talking about music, or talking about this or that.
Talking about shows about horses.
Talking about what? What was that?
Shows about horses.
Yeah, shows about. Well, that was very successful for me, but like
that's true.
Most of the stuff that I tried to talk about, like the audience that was saying like, oh, I connect with your videos about anime so much, but I don't like your music at all. You need to get better production. You need like singing lessons. You need this and that. Blah 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 blah. And it's like,
what the fuck is that?
Boo! I don't like what they're saying. Boo!
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's like when they say that, then it's like I understand, because I don't expect anybody to accept every single thing that there is about me, because nobody ever has done that until I got with May, and like. Or not to say that like my parents don't accept everything about me, but it's more like
there's still might be some skepticism.
Well, not just the skepticism, but also that, like, my parents require an explanation, And it's like, when I explain shit, I have to talk for fucking 3 hours. And, like, my parents have really short attention spans, and they literally will check out. Like, they cannot listen to me talk for the amount of time that it takes me to explain something. And so it's like, okay, like, they'll just be like, okay, whatever, like, do whatever you want. Like they just get to a point in the explanation where they feel confident that I know what I'm talking about, and they move on, which is fine. But, like, it doesn't help me to actually process what the fuck I'm trying to say, or, like,
Yeah, it feels like like there's a writing off going on.
Yeah, to some extent, or just like maybe I don't get it, so whatever. And it's like, well, I want you to get it, though. Like, we can take the time. I'm willing to take the time to work through whatever it takes, as evidenced by the fact that my YouTube channel is just me repeating myself ad nauseum until people understand what the fuck I'm trying to say. Like, I mean, that's all we're all doing. Is like, when you create art, it's just like, look, do you get it? Do you get it now? Do you get it? Do you see into my mind yet? Do you understand what my thoughts sound like yet? Or do I need to make it clearer? Like, over and over and over again until somebody literally just thinks like you. And like, that was what I realized when May started doing her podcast and having you guys on there, is that it already has happened. I've brainwashed you all. You all talk like me. And it's really fucking funny.
I have the Digi-brain.
It's like I spent years just insisting to people, like, don't look up to me, please don't look up to me, don't do it. And anybody who like just like didn't listen, that's who my audience is now.
Whenever I heard the line "Don't emulate me unless you're better with self-help," I thought, I'm better with self-help, and I wasn't. Because I was 15.
There's not many people who are better with self-help than me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm pretty fucking good. I haven't been suicidal since I was a teenager, so
fucking based. By the way, time's up.
Yeah.
Too late.
Who cares?
Well,
yeah, I know. I'm drawing a background.
This is the "we're going long" episode. You all should have known.
This is the Digi's here, and I'm not paying attention to what I'm drawing. I'm just paying attention to her.
Yeah.
Like I always do.
What color are your eyes, Digi?
I appreciate it. I like having a captive audience.
Her eyes are blue.
Blue.
Yeah, you fool. Blue.
Yes, the blueness of my eyes is like integral. Come on.
Oh, that's true.
It's the only thing it's the only thing I demand of artists. Like, if people draw me, like, they'll ask, like, oh, what do you want of like this, like OCs or anything that's any representation of me ever. It's like, all I really care about is that they have blue eyes. Like, that's the only thing that I can truly appreciate about myself, is that I have the prettiest blue eyes. Nobody can take that away from me. Blue-gray, that's my aesthetic.
You have very pretty eyes. I chucked mine in, by the way, because
Which is why I don't want to wear sunglasses as much anymore, because I've literally been hiding my biggest asset in most of my videos. But it's because, like, if you don't have good lighting, you cannot catch eye light. Like, but, you know.
Cetal, your drawing looks so fucking cool.
That is based as fuck. Yes. All right, so nice. I posted what I was like referencing, so it'll make sense why I would interpret myself this way. Sure. This is my favorite. Like, well, I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite, but I'm a huge fan of this particular drawing. I have it as my phone background because it's just comforting to look at. But
it's very cute.
My attempt to copy the hair did not go well at all.
Is that Mickey Mouse?
Yeah,
that art is.
She's at Disneyland.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
I don't. If I was at Disneyland, I would have definitely gasoline and matches in my hand.
Oh, okay.
I'm almost done.
It is adorable. I do like the Mickey Mouse hat though. I did go to Disney World when I was a kid and wear the Mickey Mouse hat.
You went to Disney World?
I went to Disney World. I love these both. The facial expression C-Tool on yours is like just so good.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Do I have like Wolverine claws or something?
No, they're
ninja.
Unfinished fingers.
Oh,
yeah.
Because you're a ninja. Because you're wearing ninja pants.
Yeah. I also really love the facial expression on Toon Coons. Just the cat eyes, like, just so at peace.
Posting mine.
Just happy to be with Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse looks like he's in blackface, even though he is black.
Database.
Yes.
You breaking your leg to database.
Oh no, I'm breaking it way worse than the first time.
Every time I hear database, I want to dance so hard I break my leg. And you do too, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it hasn't stopped me. Like, listening to the song is still dangerous. I had a time where, like, I almost hurt myself again, like, just in my room, and I was like, I need to stop dancing to this song.
This is like, worse than all the weed. It's so much worse.
Yeah.
Way too harmful. You can't control yourself.
Ironically, a mosh pit is a safer environment than your room for moshing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a designated space.
Well, yeah.
So
they're there to do that, you know?
What you need to do is get a mosh pit, specifically to mosh to death.
I need to find out where you go to get into, like, I wouldn't want to be in a mosh pit full of girls, but I wouldn't want to be in a mosh pit full of giant dudes either. You know what I mean?
Weren't you in the meetup mosh pit?
That's true. The meetup mosh pit was great. That was an excellent mosh pit.
You guys
appropriately
mosh
sized. Appropriately sized people. Yeah, we did a little mosh pit. It was sick.
Yeah.
What'd
you mosh to?
Our own singing.
Oh my god.
But I'll give you a small lesson in mosh pitology because I actually kind of realized that I do know the answer to this question. Because I grew up going to mostly metal shows where I was terrified of the mosh pit because there'd always be these gigantic fucking muscle dudes in there. And like, even when I was like kind of I don't know if I'd call myself fat because I was like 180 pounds, but overweight.
You were
even as an overweight guy, I'm short. So like, I'm still intimidated, and I also do not take to pain well. I do like throwing myself with reckless abandon to music. And it turns out that once I finally got myself into the mosh pit, I realized that the pain was not enough to keep me out. Until I went to the Denzel Curry show with City Morgue with May, which was a nonstop mosh pit, and I was trying to protect her the whole time, like while also being like moshing and also guarding her from the ensuing elbows. Yeah. And it was at the end I was like, I'm getting too old to mosh this hard. Like I actually, my body is like frail and I can't take it. Or maybe it was just the alcohol because I had a lot.
That's when you need to break out the Tatsumaki Senpyuken from Street Fighter.
Tatsumaki Senpyuken! Yeah, break that shit up.
Just circle around May, flying with your flying whirlwind kick.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Not Spunky Senpu Kid. Oh, I didn't even think about the fact that this would be on screen if I started rolling a blunt on.
Hell
on
yes, that's so. Guys, we're the coolest podcast in the world.
I'll just make it
You
the
really
thumbnail.
are.
It'll be you blowing a blunt and blackface Mickey Mouse.
Excellent.
This Mickey Mouse is like making me yeah, this is ooh.
It's okay, Darren drew it, and he's a
I
black
forgot how he
guy.
looked
It's
like.
okay.
I mean,
That's what I was
Mickey Mouse has worn blackface in a cartoon before, right? Like,
I mean, he was inspired by that sort of aesthetic, yeah. At the very least.
I wasn't
was
sure.
I.
I wasn't sure if there was a like racist Mickey
I
Mouse.
don't know. Let me look up racist Mickey Mouse. I'm sure I'll get exactly what I'm looking for.
Oh right. Well, we still haven't drawn Simon Says.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, we haven't drawn Simon's
my
OC,
turn.
'cause It's time.
Oh.
It's time for Simon's OC.
Time for my
Lucky
OC.
last. Yes.
When's the timer starting?
Yes. Hold on. Let me
Okay.
get it. This is hard work, Simon.
I know. But I respect you as the leader of this.
No, that was like that was me being over dramatic. It's fine. I just wanted to take.
I know, and I
while.
was being overly complimentary.
Disgusting.
Is this character a perpetually shirtless character?
Yes, he is. There are a few occasions where he is forced to wear a shirt, and he fucking hates it. Because I'm
gonna draw one of those.
Amazing.
Okay.
That sounds excellent.
Yeah.
The timer starts now.
I guess I can explain a little bit. So Gallant, this fucking man, he's like a demon boy, kind of. I made him well before I watched the fucking garbage show that is Darling in the Franxx, but basically he's just like 02, where he's like a weird little feral imp who gets raised by humans and then like becomes a little less crazy.
Okay, I like that archetype.
Yeah, and he's a total doomer. He's very inspired by Endless Jess and just like the exhaustedly depressed energy.
Yeah.
He's a trash man living in a trash can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he lives out of a he's basically repurposed a a parking garage into his house.
That's
and
excellent.
I came up with the concept of this character actually after listening to the Tales from the End of the World Book 1 Scarlet City audiobook.
Oh my god.
Because I thought, I was a...
Now that's Digi-Bro deep lore, Digi-née deep lore.
Oh yeah. Like, I was like a mid to late teenager, and I understood that, like, yeah, this story is not that great. Because somebody, aka Digi, taught me what good stories are.
Yeah.
And you also made me stop liking SAO, because I was like, yeah, this show actually is pretty dog shit, huh? But
I've come to realize that I think my hatred for that show is just that like Reki Kawahara is obviously like some kind of like gender fluid and like as evidenced by season 2, and like I think that he like is just like the mentality of the show is always like, oh, women are so amazing, but I'm even better, like, but I could do even better. But like, there's no men who matter at all except for fucking Kirito in the whole show. Like,
I heard you say that in the other, it was Befriending the Internet where you said that, and I said, Digi giving Reki Kawahara credit? What the fuck is happening? We really are living in a brand new world.
Digi, have you seen Gun Gale Online?
Yeah, the show?
Yeah.
I've only seen the first episode.
With the pink girl?
The last episode, lesbian kiss. It's the fucking greatest show of all time.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think it's just like it's the job of like us internet people to like go in and like unpack the like the insecurities of the author and be like expand on like what they what they're afraid to
Speaking
like what
of,
we read into that, what we think they're afraid to say.
Speaking of expanding on characters and authorial anxieties, this character, he's all
for what it's worth. I know I'm thinking about Jesse as I draw this, who would hate hearing somebody say something like that.
Yeah,
but
I'm
totally with him on his stance on death of the author, because like The thing, like, the argument is that, like, yeah, obviously Death of the Author, like, philosophically is a thing, but, like, you should also just respect the author because they're the person who made the thing and, like, a human being.
Agreed.
And you literally wouldn't even have it if they didn't exist, so it's like, to throw it out and just be like, oh, well, fucking who cares what the author says? Death of the Author, bro. It's just like, yeah, well, I mean, I care what the author says. Like, they wrote the story.
Yeah, there's context to be gleaned there.
Cringe.
The context about me and this character is that he is a depressed guy who refuses to let people close to him because he doesn't want to hurt them or whatever. And I'll just leave it at that. That's how the character feels, guys. That's how the character feels.
I have a video that I'm planning to do about this very concept called The Fear of hold on. Think for a second to remember the exact phrase. The fear of projection. Instead of the fear of rejection, it's the fear of projection.
The fear of Pro Jared.
Yeah.
Simon, it's okay. Help me, Daddy. I want it.
You cannot joke to me about that. You won't.
This Drawcast has been like a excellent case study because we're all three of us are Digi fans, and we have all these characters that represent parts of us that we like identify with. But you, character Digi, is just you, so you've like fully accepted it and have become the meme. But us, we still have to hide behind fictional characters that we made.
You say that, but in a sense, this is an OC in the sense that it does not look like me. Like, it is my fictionalized interpretation of what I wish people thought I looked like, you know?
But it is what you identify with. Like, there's no one step removed.
I would say there is a lot. It's funny because, like, yes, this is an OC of me in the sense that it is not a fantasy. It's not a blonde lolly, you know? Like, it's not an avatar. It is an interpretation of my actual self as a woman. It's sort of like meant to be like, I sort of think of it as if I had grown up without ever having like testosterone, as like if I just basically like if I had not gone through puberty and become male looking. This is what the child I looked like would have grown up to look like, is what Digi-née's the avatar
if you
is.
pulled a Hibari,
and hopefully eventually what I can get closer to actually resembling.
But I mean, like, every drawing of you is like a idealized representation. Like, if I had chosen my priest costume boy as my OC, it'd still be technically me.
Yeah, I feel like your D&D character also might fit into that, but I don't want to speak for you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he drinks alcohol and he's a pirate.
Yeah, just like you.
The way you truly want to be. Arachne, the femboy I desire to be one day. Maybe.
What color is this guy's shoes?
He wears big black combat boots.
Oh,
I don't imagine him with shoes, Simon. Shoes are for cats.
He often does not wear shoes.
Excellent. I'm glad.
Also, I will say to all you boys coloring out there, the ends of his fingertips and I guess toes too are like yellow colored because it's just like fucking leftovers from like his demon shit.
It's not yellow. It's normal colored, actually.
Incorrect, and I hate you.
By the way, we're doing the ProAnon things you can't get into podcast.
Oh my god, yeah.
Excellent. Try not to get into a fight that becomes legendary and then referenced by your viewership forever, constantly reminding you how much you hate all of your friends. Make sure that doesn't happen.
Is there now? I don't know.
But I want it.
Maybe we.
Yeah, but
maybe I shouldn't ask this. But how are like things going internally?
Oh, on the PCP? I mean,
no. How's your tum feeling?
Yeah.
Pretty much the same as usual. I mean, we're kind of like we're at this point, like everybody's like, okay, like people are mad that VadCon 4 stuff's not done. We need to get more of that done. We're trying to get more of that done.
To complain about it.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we're just trying to get RadCon shit wrapped up. But I don't know. Like the PCP is like we definitely do not just like communicate as much in the PCP chat as before. A lot of us are in the same Discords at this point, like the same other, because like when the PCP chat came to be, I at least was not talking to anyone else, and this continued for years. Like that was just the only people I talked to. I was like, all right, I only have time for like 5 people in my life. I'm just gonna pick these guys and fuck it. Everybody else, you are like, well, my mentality was kind of like, all I do is make videos. So if you want to know what I'm doing, watch the videos. Like, and I kind of saw it as like anybody who really gave a shit about me would just watch the videos because I talk about everything I'm doing. And if you ask me any questions, I'm just going to talk about the videos. You know, there's nothing else for me to talk about. This is what my life is. And so that's why I stopped talking to all my friends. But
I still think about Danson sometimes.
And then at some point I realized that, like, you know, maybe instead of tasking myself to literally work constantly and then like spending half of the time that I'm tasking myself to work on not working and doing other things, maybe I should just use that time to like make time for people, you know?
Yeah.
No, that's gay. Be a content machine.
That's a great idea, aesthetic. Actually.
That's what I like.
I mean, I think you could be a content machine and still, you know, work with people. Like, I mean, we're doing a podcast right now, you know.
What?
True.
What are you... We are?
What?
Yeah, dude, you've got to edit it.
Oh, shit.
You're our edit slave, remember?
Okay. If I must.
Yes, you must.
Legally mandated.
Clipping group. Fuck. By the way, we're almost out of time.
Oh,
I'm almost done.
Yeah.
And you really meant almost, huh?
Yeah. Fucking I'm cheating.
Yeah, we can cheat because we can talk as long as we fucking want.
No, I'm not cheating. I'm done. I'm gonna post mine right now.
Yeah, I have a cool aesthetic I wanted to do, and fuck the rules for trying to get in between me and my cool aesthetic. I'm gonna use multiply. No, not multiply. Shine. No, not shine. Burn. Yes, burn that color in there.
How to get burned?
And then we get another one. I get clipping group.
Dude, this interpretation is fucking amazing, and I love it. He looks like a character from a fucking PS2 game.
Yes, actually, he is kind of that blocky aesthetic.
Yeah.
I love how big his thighs are.
Yeah, fucking yeah. Spectacular. This is
curse you guys
great.
with like your good ability to be good. How dare you?
Oh my god, that chest.
Yeah, he's huge.
This guy
lives. Here's mine. You can't read it, but he's saying I hate this.
Because he's wearing a shirt.
He does. Yeah, he's fucking bulging out.
Yeah, he's fucking ripping out of his shirt. Cannot take it.
He is a feral boy who hates wearing shirts.
I doubt any of you know this song, but there's a Static X song called This Is Not, where he screams, "This is not my life, this is not my home, this is not me, I hate this!" And that's what I was thinking of when I drew this speech bubble.
That sounds like that is the kind of music he listens to, even though I don't listen to that kind of music.
Yeah,
I was thinking of gay porn when I drew mine.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah, that's about right.
In the nebulous narrative ideas I have for this guy, which is semi-inspired by Tales from the End of the World, he does have like a sexy Bishonen brother. But he's adopted, so hey, fan artists, go nuts.
Oh.
They're both adopted brothers.
Fuck your brother.
Inspired by Tales from the End of the World, you say?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if there was any incest in that.
No, there isn't. More just like angsty main character guy. It's more the setting, which is like weird magic city full of creepy spooks and Babadooks.
Is that where you got
just reality as it looks to me, basically.
Yeah.
There we go. Add that. Click OK. Click.
And also, there's like a machine god, but don't worry about that. Just keep an eye on me if you want to actually see that story come to fruition in 4 years.
Simon, you haven't been posting comic pages.
That is because I drew for 3 weeks straight, and I got really fucking burnt out and exhausted. But I intend to go back.
Sounds like an excuse, Simon. I'm gonna have to cancel you on Twitter.
The challenge is just an excuse to get back into the swing of drawing, because I used to draw a lot.
No, you gotta stick to it, Simon. That's the whole point. The challenge is to do the challenge.
But the challenge...
Dude, could I love... Digi, dude, you guys are great. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
That's mine, by the way.
C2, that one's fucking... I love the effects. Holy shit.
He's gonna burn his nips.
Oh my fucking god.
He's burning all the shirts.
This is so...
That's why it took so long, because I had to put a fucking bunch of overlays.
This is legit amazing for 10 minutes.
So
I can't
cool.
believe you drew that in that amount of time.
Well, I posted it as soon as I was done, so it was a little longer than 10 minutes.
She had
Guess
12
what?
minutes, Digi, so it's not really that impressive.
Whatever. Whatever. Look at my drawing and look at yours, please. All right?
I am still drawing because I'm a self-centered asshole. So we have an excuse to talk for longer.
Oh, fuck yes. But yeah, I wanted to make it look like things were burning, and that means using a lot of red overlay to get that good
I like
effect.
to imagine he's burning his chest hair off instead.
Oh, he can't. He's physically incapable of growing body hair anywhere else except his head.
Why is that?
Weird demon shit, I don't know.
Because demons don't like bodies with hair on them, so they alter their genetics, so you can't do that anymore.
I didn't know
So
Simon was a
everyone's
demon.
super sexy.
It's true.
But
this character...
But nowadays demons think body hair is actually super sexy, because no one has it.
I project on this character hardcore. He's not a self-insert technically because he has a different eye color than me, but I have the long blonde hair. I'm not as cut as him.
Does he have heterochromia, though?
No. So he's not...
I had the stunning revelation that heterochromia is just a metaphor for, having multiple personalities or being bipolar or something
Yes.
No, it's you having an angel parent and a demon parent.
Same difference. That's I'm the son of rage and love, the Jesus of suburbia. It's literally the same difference. Like that is the metaphor.
It's true.
For being bipolar, I mean.
Yeah.
The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me, as the brand new album is called. See, this is the way I think. It's just 10 references to a bunch of different things that all mean the same thing. And so when I say one thing, in my mind, I'm thinking all 10 of those things. And how do I convey that to somebody without just saying all 10 things in a row?
But see,
there's an angel and a devil inside of you, and you can only choose one to feed.
Yeah.
I can be your angel or your devil.
Angle Beast. Angle Beast. It's the Angle Beast. You can be my Angel Beat, or you could be my Angle Beast.
Mm-hmm. See, Digi...
oh my god, I never realized the duality until just
We
now.
are probably some of the best people for you to just dump that shit on, because we are just so infatuated with anything you say.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying. I realized from May's stream was that listening to some of you guys talk, it's one part. I've always said that there's a certain type of person who I can recognize is a lot of the guys who come up to me at conventions to talk to me look very similar, and I think I know why.
Yeah.
I think I know. I think I might know what the core is.
There's a similar...
for a lot of it.
There's an overarching theme.
It's not that everyone's exactly the same. I don't think, it's not always gender identity kind of stuff, but it's very often long-haired guys who look like they have stopped taking care of themselves because they hate their body. That is kind of the look. Yeah. So.
Raises paw.
But whenever I see those people, I always feel very comfortable around them because I look at them and I immediately am yeah, you're one of my fans. I can tell, I bet you know enough about me that I know as much as I need to know about you, because for you to have seen as much of my content as you can reference, that means that most of your time is just spent watching my videos. So we're on the same page, in a sense. Which is why I kind of look at it as like some kind of like horrible brainwashing that I've done, because it does feel like I've
got it right.
The verdict's still out about the ethics on it.
Well, I mean, it ultimately the ethics on it is always going to be a matter of perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because there's some people who are going to say like, you are turning a bunch of like guys into girls right now, like. Because in a way, I am literally doing that.
See, here's the thing, joke's on them. I thought that I was having questions about my gender before you were, but it was also while I was a fan of you, so it might have been subliminal. I'm uploading mine right now.
Well, okay, like the people, as I said on the Dick Show, like people keep talking about the like anime makes you trans, and it's like, no, trans makes you anime. Like,
yeah.
And once you're out and you start looking through a lot more anime like in a gendered lens, you can see that like a lot of it is like kind of subtly like saying that it is about that, like in the subtlety, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, these symbols couldn't mean anything else, you know? Like, this is, oh, I see, this is about like this. I don't just connect like it's easy to like look at like Serial Experiments Lane and be like, oh, is Lane like a non-binary icon or whatever? And then it's like you look at the catalog of Chiaki Konaka, a long-haired man who is writing baby metal books. Like, yeah, I think he might have some non-binary. Like, you know, Japan doesn't really have terms for these things, and neither does history. You know, so it's like, you know, maybe a lot of this stuff is a lot more similar than people realize, and that's why they all relate to it so easily. It's like, you know.
See, this is why I watch good anime, like Hajime no Ippo, who has none of this girl stuff.
No, you gotta watch
like Seinfeld.
Watch Best Anime Ever,
isn't
Fun Pharmacy.
Hajime no Ippo is kind of about like a like finding like a sensitive boy finding an outlet to be masculine, like. Because he's, like, picked on at the start. He's, like, a fucking bitch boy. But it's like, oh, you actually could be, like, you know, you could have an outlet for this rage. And then you won't have to fucking let people take advantage of you all the time, you know? But, like,
just go hang out with a bunch of sweaty, muscly dudes. There's nothing gay about that.
Yeah, and then they all talk, and then they constantly grab his dick, too. They literally grab his dick all the time.
It's the straightest anime ever.
Oh, man. I haven't even seen that much of Hajime no Ippo, so I'm not going to like. It's fucking great, dude. I've seen like 15 episodes. I do like it a lot. I guess I don't like. It's funny because I have a lot of like. I'm going to try to find a careful way to phrase the things I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I try to take people's feelings into account before I tell random stories now.
Please, just go. Just shotgun
well,
it.
I'm just thinking
That's
about.
thoughtful.
I'm just thinking about like
if you're not gonna hurt people's feelings, I will.
Yeah, well, that's why he's our house slave master.
Well, I guess the simplest way to put it is that like I see Hajime no Ippo as for my friends and family who watched it as like people who are sensitive who are watching this show as a way to connect with like a masculine expression of sensitivity, and that is the appeal to them. And I have never given a fuck about like this is a funny thing. I guess the difference when I was on the Dick Show, Dick Masterson asked me like, have you considered talking to somebody to like convince you to not go through with the gender transition? And like it was a really bizarre question to me because the thought had never occurred to me to want to be a boy. Like that's never been the case. I never wanted to be a boy. I simply accept being a boy because it's easier. It's and it's a defense mechanism. I won't get bullied if I look like a guy. You know, like it's never been a preference. It was never like, oh, I'd love to be like a muscly masculine dude.
No, it's
there was
just
a few times that like I thought that might be like worth it from a practical standpoint. Like, yeah, being muscular is like I can defend myself, and as somebody who is paranoid, I would like to be able to defend myself. I think martial arts is a better way to do that because, you know, understanding the theory of how people move is more important than actually physical strength. But like,
his martial arts, you cuck.
Well, sure, but I'm saying that like I never really engaged with Hajime no Ippo on the level of like finding the fights particularly exciting. Like boxing is just like, you know, it's just a lot of punching, man.
Oh my god!
It's just I don't know. Boxing's not that exciting to me.
She's a woman.
I love.
Dude, what do you expect?
Yeah, women do understand cool things like boxing.
Dude, you are the minority.
That validates
here as a
you.
man.
Like if someone says, that the trans is in me. No, don't understand boxing. Definitely a woman. That's what I say.
I mean, I've never been in a fight in my life, so for me, fighting is like, it can either be like, if I'm taking it seriously, then it's scary, and if I'm not taking it seriously, then it's not exciting. It's like, in the case of Hajime no Ippo, it's kind of like, you know, I know Ippo is going to continue his career. Like, the nature of this manga is that he's not going to get a career-ending injury, and it's going to be a totally different manga from that point on. Like, this is a shonen sports manga built to go on forever. Whether he wins or loses the matches is kind of incidental, so it's kind of hard to get that excited about them, for me. And, like, the plot stuff between the matches is, like, I mean, the characters are mostly pretty, like, generic, you know?
Oh
like,
get Digi. It's not even about the fights. The plot stuff is the good part of it. The interpersonal relationships and how he's, like, developing his own, like, personal life and his career. Because there is, like, definitely...
No, I like the overarching narrative of the series. Like, I like Hajime no Ippo, but there are some shows I like more in concept than in actually, like, sitting down and, like, the pleasure of the actual experience. Like, I guess for me, I guess what it really boils down to, if I'm being honest, is Hajime no Ippo is full of ugly motherfucking dudes. And
but the art style is super cool. I love the art style in Hajime no Ippo.
Is that why you didn't like FMA Brotherhood that much, too?
I'd say Brotherhood is full of beautiful dudes.
That's true, I guess. But there's a lot of just men who are burly and
no, I don't mind the burliness. I mean, like, Hajime no Ippo is just ugly. Like, it's just ugly drawings.
No,
like,
it's super cool.
I'm inclined to agree. I don't think it looks bad, but I wouldn't describe it as ugly.
This whole conversation just makes me think of Dorian Electra's song Man to Man. Like, that's the whole appeal of, like, all fighting is just, like, getting rough in the parking lot, touching each other's asses.
I mean, when I heard that song, I was like, this is basically what all my friends are like. Like, it's really funny. For me, Dorian Electra is fascinating because I almost, more so than seeing myself as an MTF, I almost see myself as a detransitioning FTM. Like, I did not have any understanding of, like, what boys do until, like, high school. Like, when I started hanging out with, like, a group of friends who were guys. And, like, granted, all the guys I hang out with are very sensitive guys, a lot of whom I think are probably eggs in retrospect. And maybe that's, I haven't talked to a lot of them in a while. But, like, you know, I think that a lot of them were more into the idea of being masculine and having guy hobbies, you know? And, like, I just have never had that. I'm just, it's so, like, for me, it's like any kind of understanding I have of masculinity is a woman's, like, coming in from, like, a feminine perspective, an emotional perspective, and trying to, like, reverse engineer why do boys act this way.
Yeah, you feel like an outsider from this perspective.
Cool.
Yeah. And Dorian Electra captures that really well, where it's like, this is someone who, you know, was assigned female at birth, but, like, relates to all these masculine emotions and understands them from this, like, other side of the aisle perspective of, like, you know, this is what you boys are doing and I want to do it too, you know? And, like, it's totally unrelatable for me because I never wanted to do those things. Like, Man to Me is, like, funny because it's, like, a character I would put on to relate to guys, but I don't feel that way, you know?
I
like,
fight real hard with Man to Man and, like, flamboyant. Man to Man and flamboyant.
I love all those songs because I see Dorian Electra as, like, they are the kind of person that I would be friends with and that, like, I would want to surround myself with. Like, I want all my friends to be Dorian Electra, but I am not Dorian Electra, you know? Sure. May is Dorian Electra. May is Career Boy. That's her song of choice.
That makes sense.
Yeah, literally, Career Boy, you can thank that song for everything May has done since the coronavirus started. Like, we basically somehow through the algorithms when I came out, before I came out publicly, but when I came out to May, because I don't know if it's just because we were talking about, you know, gender stuff all the time, but YouTube just started recommending me nothing but Dorian Electra and Rina Sawayama, and between them I found all the answers. Between them, I understood. Because between them is May. Somewhere between Dorian Electra and Rina Sawayama. Somewhere between Comme des Garçons, Like the Boys, I'm So Confident, and Career Boy. This demi-boy spectrum lies May. So, and once I understood that, I could understand myself and where I fall into the spectrum. It's like looking at someone who is assigned female at birth, like endeared to and wanting to be like a boy, made me realize like, oh, how funny. I've learned how to do those things and I don't want to know. I don't want to be a career boy. I don't want to be.
Smash a pot of coffee on your head?
I don't even drink coffee. I don't like coffee. May drinks literally can't live without coffee. I don't like coffee.
Don't drink it. You just smash it on your head because smashing things on your head is cool and fun.
I drink nothing but diet green tea because my aesthetic is granny. I am a granny. I was born a granny from birth. I've been old from day one. That's why half my hair's gray already as it is.
That's why you are gray.
People don't get it as much because like it doesn't come through on recording that like a lot of my hair is gray. Like
I've looked at some like really high-res pictures of you and I say like, oh shit, she's like, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Simon's been studying satellite photos of you.
Yeah. It's a lot more evident in the sunlight and like if you, especially like the underside of my hair is like way more gray. So like if you see my hair like pulled back, it'll be like, oh Jesus, like there's a lot of gray here, which I think is dope as fuck because it means, you know, I always knew this would happen because I wanted to be Inuyasha when I was a kid, and now I am. And now they're making the Inuyasha sequel where it's Inuyasha and Sesshomaru's daughters, and also this other girl who's obviously going to be Yuri with Inuyasha's daughter. I am fucking so excited.
It's almost like they thought about it.
Oh, they definitely thought about
it.
They for sure knew what they were doing with this one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Rumiko Takahashi pipeline is no mistake. It is no accident.
Oh, certainly
not. It's a coordinated move across 30 years.
She knows exactly what she's doing.
You know, Mai Sonikoku planted the seeds. Ranma grew them. Mm-hmm. Inuyasha bore the fruit. And the new seed is being planted once more with the new Inuyasha.
Prepare to die.
Prepare to die.
Which I don't know if Takahashi's even involved with. I think it's just Sunrise probably just doing it.
I heard Takahashi was like involved, but not like a...
Oh my god, this is fucking adorable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Prepare to die.
Prepare to die. I wanted to do something with little ninja digi.
You are way too good at line art. Like at the speed that you do it. It's
Seatol's. I like to think that I am okay. Seatol is like a league above.
And yet I still do not reach my own standards.
No artist. No, I mean aside from no artist does. Also, no artist that I like seems to reach their standards because what I favor artists who have just good impulses, like, because all I care about is the line work. I don't give a fuck about any of the detail. I don't give a fuck about lighting. I just care about the line work. Damn. Just the fact that like the arms look the way, like the curvature of the like arm, the curvature of the face, the curvature of the hair. Like I'm all about the curvatures. That's what I look for in a woman.
You like them curves.
Yes.
I like the pretty colors. I'm trash. My favorite drawing of Arachne is just a drawing that I hard refed and then put pretty colors over it. I'm like, yes,
sick.
Pretty colors.
Pretty colors are important too. I downloaded this picture of like somebody like did like a visual guide to basic color theory that was like mind blowing, and I need to reference it and use it to become a fucking aesthetic master. Because all you need is the right 3-color combination, and everything is perfect.
It's true.
Like magenta, cyan, and yellow.
Oh, I mean that one's one of them. That one's. I mean, when I see people just draw with just those 3 colors, like it doesn't matter what the drawing is. I'm always just like, that looks fucking awesome. What is that?
There's some like formula. There's like a triangle that you put over the color wheel that tells you the thing.
Yeah, that's a triadic color scheme. Those always turn out good. And then you have. I know I vaguely remember color theory, but I'm like, bad.
Mm-hmm. I have a one-stop image that tells you, like, I took fucking several art classes, and I never got any lesson that was nearly as helpful as like what one fucking random guy on Twitter taught me by
Real shit, will you post that and link
Post
to
it.
who
I'm trying
made
to fucking find it.
Okay.
Oh my
I don't
God,
know who
yes.
made it, but it was like a real ass guy. It was like an industry guy.
I like how this Drawcast has just like expanded into just hanging with
Oh,
Yeah.
we knew. There was
probably.
no...
I mean,
We knew this would happen.
it's a fairly short podcast, honestly, if there's only 4
like 2 hours
drawings.
long.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
has it
That's
already
okay.
been going that long?
An hour 45, yeah.
Holy shit.
Oopsie.
I had no idea.
see,
yeah,
since
let
I'm
me see if I
usually
can
the
find this
ringleader of everything, I like to like keep things moving. But like since it's Digi's here, so I'm like, I gotta calm down, you know.
Yeah, dude.
It's
Don't
okay,
fucking
Digi's
blow your
here,
load all at
dude.
once.
It doesn't matter. This is like, okay, yeah, you're gonna I feel like this is just gonna eventually turn to my screen because I'm just drawing,
Yeah,
as I
I'll
do
zoom
when I
in.
have nothing else to do.
Yeah,
Just like cut everyone else out, have me drawing whatever I'm drawing on the screen.
God damn it, if I can't find this picture.
Actually, don't, because I am just gonna play a video game now, and I want them to see that too.
Sick.
I can turn back on Seinfeld.
Oh my god, no, we will get claimed.
No, it's fine.
No, it's not. We're gonna be screwed. Now I'm just drawing Digi as a magical girl.
Excellent. That's the only way I should ever be drawn.
Mm-hmm.
I could appreciate being a magical girl, but not like permanently. I'd like to be a regular guy.
Well, that's why you transform. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's funny how Digi brought up Power Rangers as part of the trans thing, the transforming thing, and transgender thing. Because I always saw Power Rangers as like a masculine thing when I liked it as a kid.
I mean, it is masculine, but it is like
Well,
about
there are-
transforming.
I mean, the thing about Power Rangers is that there's 2 boys, 2 girls, or 3 boys, 2 girls. So, you know, I guess in my mind from the start, you know, I didn't see it as masculine because there's 2 girls. And, like, because I watched it with my brother Victor, and this was like Power Rangers before I had, like, I didn't really have a sense of what is the difference between a boy and a girl until I started school. Like, and people started telling me, you are a girl. And I would say, like, no, I'm not. And they would say, yes, you are. And I was like, I don't understand. And, like, that was what led to me coming to hate girls and just be, like, repelled by them. Like, I don't want anything to do with anything feminine. I'm never going to talk to girls. Girls are scary, and I don't want to deal with them. And mostly because the interactions I'd had with girls, their feelings were hurt very easily, and I did not understand why. So,
It's funny,
you know,
that's why.
so, and I didn't want to hurt them, so I just avoided them, I think, was
Different
my
childhoods
mentality.
being you.
But
You know how many times I got slapped in school for telling a girl off about something?
I
Oh my
literally did not speak to any girls until I was in high school. I'm not exaggerating. I didn't talk to girls. I didn't do any of it. No interaction with women. Very little interaction with boys, for that matter. And almost all the guys who were my friends growing up turned out to be gay or trans later. So, you know, we smell it on each other, I guess. But
I was friends
like,
with like
Like-minded
lesbians
individuals
and
attract each other.
yeah, I was friends with a bunch of lesbian and bi girls. I wonder what that could mean.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, too, because lesbian and bi girls, like, once I did start talking to girls in high school, it was mostly lesbian and bi girls who would talk to me, who were usually, like, they were the only kind of girls who would start a conversation. And it's because, and this is a stereotype, but it runs so deep. It runs so much deeper than anybody could possibly understand. And I consider myself to be part of the evidence for this as a trans woman. Women will not ask out guys unless they think, like, unless they, like, think they have to be the masculine one in this relationship, which is a tendency that mostly arises in lesbian women or closet lesbian women, in the case of the ones that I've been with, who the first one of whom I think that my first girlfriend probably was an aware closet lesbian and was keeping it from me. In retrospect, I think she was like, I think she was into me because she knew I wanted to be a girl, which was a lot more evident back then. It was something I talked about a lot more in the brony days.
Yeah.
Because it's a much bigger part of the brony community than the anime community, at least to be out about it. But like, I think that, like, for me, I didn't understand why women would not, like, talk to me. Like, why they don't just come up and talk to you. And, like, I understand now why, because it's the same reason I wouldn't go up and talk to anybody, which is that it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
So, like, once I understood that, it's like, oh, okay. Like, and I think there's two kinds of sensitive guys. There's the sensitive guys who figure this out, and then they completely they realize, oh, all I have to do is just like ask them out and not be afraid of rejection. Mission complete, and now I'm good, and now I feel confident in my masculinity.
The thing.
For me, like, learning that was the case did not improve my ability to do that in any way. Like, no rationalization makes me able to approach people.
That's why you don't rationalize it. You just jump in. You just run at them. That is a solution. the thought
that what this interaction might cause that person to, like, be uncomfortable is, like, extremely difficult for me. Like, the thought that my presence will make someone, I can't not think about it because of the fact that I was in the closet. Like, it's hard to approach somebody when, like, you are so far from representing yourself that you feel like you're going to have like 17 conversations before they really understand anything about you, And, like, it's different. Like, for me, part of coming out and identifying as a woman is that it's literally easier if people think of me that way. Like because I am very stereotypically girly. Like, I am very effeminate, and, like, it doesn't come through in the character I've been putting on, but, like, it comes through in what I actually say. Like, if you're looking past the artifice of how I'm saying it, which is aggressive for the sake of, survival and competition in this fucking, somebody with a lot of fear and loathing approaching the world, then, like, if you just pull away the artifice and just look at what's being said, it's like literally somebody who, like, worships emotionality and has no interest in being logical about anything.
As someone who's probably listened to hours and hours of you talking, it didn't surprise me at all, because I just sort of, like, intrinsically understood what the real situation was.
Well, and that was that is the disconnect, is that, like, all the people who I was talking to in, like, my Discord, or who listen to, like, the people who tend to like my music, like, tend to be people who really get what I'm saying, and there's no disconnect, and they're like, every video they're like, yeah, this was really interesting, you put words to something that I had been thinking about. And, like, then there's, like, the rest of the audience who has no idea what I'm fucking talking about half the time, and, like, I thought that the problem is I am just not being clear enough. Let me explain myself in even more detail. And it's like, the problem isn't that you're not explaining yourself in enough detail. It's that the perspective that you're coming from is confusing, because you are simultaneously presenting yourself as somebody who, like, I guess it's like there's some element of devil's advocacy that, like, crops up in my videos, because of the fact that I don't have, like, concrete opinions about things. Because it's hard for me to have, like, concrete beliefs if I'm not a concrete person, if I don't have, like, a concrete sense of self. It's like, well, I don't know who I want to be. I don't know what opinion I want to have, basically. It's like, there's a lot of opinions. I recognize the logic in them. I don't know which one I feel, because my feelings are locked away. Because I'm not expressing my feelings on the surface. I'm only expressing them through this abstract exploration through the text. And so, like, for the people who are, like, who are like listening to what I'm saying and then looking at me and really feeling this weird disconnect of, like, I don't understand why you would present yourself so abrasively and say things that are so inviting and so nice, like, why are you advocating being a nice person and being a douchebag? I don't understand. Like, that's the confusion. And it's like,
because don't know what's going on in your mind about it.
Well, it's because, like, if I try to be nice, if I try to be sincere, it will, like, the way I will do it as a man will be cringeworthy, It will look weird coming from me. Hearing, like, imagine if you saw the me with the beard, the full beard, doing the girl voice. Like, not this voice I'm doing right now, but, like, imagine imagine if you saw me with a beard doing a voice like this, you know, like it just. Hello, I'm Digibro. I'm gonna tell you about Toradora. That's my favorite anime. And like,
you should do it. I don't see the. I like see. I mean, my male brain, I guess. I don't see. Like, why not? Just do it. It's funny. I don't care. Like, I would do that if I could do it.
Is it not supposed to be funny? Is that it? It's like it's not supposed to be funny.
That's the thing. It's not supposed to be funny.
But
and like,
everything I do, even if like I have long accepted the fact that me being sincere, like. If you watch Duncan videos, it is me being sincere. Right. I just realized that I could just make a comedy out of it. See, life's not a tragedy; it's a comedy, Digi.
I would say that is the case with my content. Is that to me, it's easier to view it. It's a lot easier to view it as a comedy if you are with more abstraction. Like it's like, okay, this is basically exactly the same as my own beliefs, except there's one thing that I'm keeping from you. And as long as I have that one thing that I'm keeping from you, then none of this stuff I'm saying is truly me, in my mind. In your mind, there's functionally no difference. You're like, okay, like, you say you were actually a girl the whole time? Okay, well, you still said all those things, and you still believe all those things. So what difference does it make? And it's like, It doesn't make any difference, but the fact that me being honest was cringeworthy was easy for me to set aside if I wasn't being completely honest, Because if I'm being completely honest and it's cringeworthy, then I'm going to be self-conscious about it.
Yeah, then
because I was really hoping that people would think it was good and not cringeworthy. But you are right. Ultimately, it's ultimately going to come down to there's always going to be people who cringe. There's always going to be people who think it's based. There's always going to be people who don't get it. There's always going to be people who get it. You just have to decide that you are okay with who gets it. Because that's really the sticking point, is that if you think it would be uncool to be this way, then that's really the problem. It's not that you are afraid other people will think it's uncool. It's that you think it's uncool. And ultimately, I am the one who is going to cringe if I see myself, or if I hear a girl voice coming out of myself. And the reason I'm going to cringe is that I know what it makes people think. I know what how people react to it. And so I internalize their reaction. And even though I know that's the wrong thing to do because I'm saying it constantly, it still happens because deep down, until I actually believe that I could be completely sincere and somebody will accept that, I won't have the courage to do it. And, that's why I always insist that, like, it's getting with May that allowed me to do that, because I showed her everything I had, like, she knew it's never been a secret that I like have, gender identity questions and like unresolved thoughts and feelings. And it's not as though I had a set of expectations of like, here's a list of things I have to do in this relationship by the end. But like, it was understood from the start that I have these, these inclinations.
There's
I
things
could
going
act on
in your
them.
brain that are,
yeah. Well, and that's also true for her. Like most of the same things are going on in our brains, so like we connected on basically everything. So it's like, it was easy. It's basically easy mode for approval. But then the next step is like, okay, well, now that I have approval, now I need to actually like figure out like, so what, like, who do I want to be going forward? Like, cause I guess for me, it was the only thing I was worried about until I got with May throughout my life. The only thing I was worried about was like, will I ever find someone who I will be comfortable enough with to live the rest of my life with? That's the only question on my mind. Like, will I be able to be enough of myself that I will not feel as though I am stifled every day, and I can still be with this person forever. And once I had that, then the question is, okay, now that I have this, like, what do I actually want to do with my life? I've had a very vague notion of it for a long time, but like, what do I really want out of my life? And confronting that question over the last 3 years has been like the defining, nature of my life. It's just like constantly trying to answer that question, putting things in, seeing if they work. If they don't, oh, I guess that wasn't it, you know, until I got to this point where I made the neurotyping chart. It had the big brain mind expansion explosion of realizing that the people I'm talking to are not stupid. They just can't talk.
Yeah.
And once I understood that, once I understood the difference between being stupid and being unable to talk, then the whole world opened up. It's like, I constantly am being given reminders that people are, like, abjectly fucking retarded. But then I'm also constantly being given reminders that if they weren't, like pretty decently functioning, then, like, society would collapse instantly. So it's like, people are all working on understandings they can't explain. And a lot of it is just believing in the zeitgeist and believing in the people around you to have an understanding and just kind of going with the flow and following what people are doing. And I think that when you find yourself unable to do that for whatever reason, then you have a tendency to be like, okay, well, everybody is wrong. They're all following the flow and the flow is going in the wrong direction and they're all retarded and like they need to stop. But it's kind of like throwing out the baby with the bathwater. It's like, realistically, people are like 90% of the way there. It's just that the last 10% is like really crucial and everybody understands it differently and none of them can explain it and they're all fucking, it's like it's the quest for the last 10%. That is what humanity is. Human interaction is the quest to close the gap. That, you know, in tribal societies probably didn't really exist that much of a gap because they didn't have words. They all kind of took it for granted that they knew what was going on because they were all in the same place, doing the same things at the same time. Right. Now it's like trying to get something is a fucking whirlwind nightmare. Like the brain is not really designed to necessarily, like it's designed to interpret things quickly and work on instinct as much as possible, like all animal brains are, you know, like instinct is supposed, ideally we operate as much on instincts as possible, but if our instincts run contrary to what society says they should for a person who is us, then it's you know, that's where everything unravels
a quote
and
unquote
splinters.
mental illness.
That's where anxiety comes from, kid.
Right. And the anxiety is always the like is always like you can't explain it. You're like, okay, well, I feel this thing that's different from everybody else, but I can't explain it, and so I must be wrong. And the reality is no one's wrong. You are all literally even the craziest schizos I've talked to are 90% on the same page as everybody else. It's just that their last 10% is very different than anybody else's. But you talk to them and like what they're trying to accomplish in their day-to-day life is the same shit. Just trying to pay the fucking bills and keep their job. But like nobody's life is more complicated than that. So like ultimately it's like, no matter how fucking deep down into the psychosexual fucking morass of trauma and void gazing you go and how nihilistically, you know, you view things, it's like at the end of the day, you always come back to, well, that's all well and good, but if I'm not going to kill myself, then I still got to figure out how to pay the bills and live till tomorrow. So like, you know, there are some people who view existentialism as just a weakness to be recovered from and just continue forward, like Casey Neistat.
You would think that,
and therefore best guy ever, and therefore me.
Yeah.
I
And think
that's the evolutionary line.
That is what Nate thinks, unironically.
But see, the difference though between you and Nate and Casey is that Casey Neistat, well, that too. Casey Neistat can sincerely do that. And you and Nate cannot sincerely do that, I don't think.
What do you mean?
Or else you wouldn't be writing a book like the one you're writing about void gazing. I mean, like Casey Neistat doesn't have complex thoughts. He literally just he just runs. He just goes and he makes videos and he makes the same video every day, and it's nauseatingly boring. Like I can't watch his videos anymore because he has not evolved. It's been years he's doing the same fucking thing, and like, you know, I can't. Like, to me, like, I just don't understand why you would want to do the same fucking thing all the time. Like, what are you getting out of it?
Sense
are you
of
still
safety
learning?
and security,
you know,
that you can't accomplish anywhere else. Humans are dumb boys, and we naturally cling to the things that are familiar. And once you've got something that works, why break something that don't fix?
Well, you know,
my one pride in life is that my Dune Kun videos are like different from each other. That I don't have a set formula, despite.
Yeah, it's because that's a cool thing that you have.
Yeah,
well, I kind of see it.
You're not gay.
One, because when I started, I was afraid that Digi would yell at me if he ever saw them. She ever saw them at the time, or he at the time, you know. And two, because I also hate everything now, and I'm like, just be good. Why can't you just make good, interesting stuff? So I have to make my own good, interesting stuff.
See, I think everything I make is good and interesting. That's the problem, is that, like, everybody has their own idea of what is good and interesting Digibro content, and they're all screaming at me, just do this. And I'm like, okay, well, like, the guy over there is telling me to do the other thing, and I like all of it. That's why I'm doing it. Like, people have this image of, like, oh, Digi's, like deliberately not making good stuff and just making bad stuff. And it's like, no, I'm just making what I want.
That's the most retarded take I've ever heard.
See, here's the thing, Digi. I, like you, love all of your stuff, and maybe that's why I project on you so fucking hard.
Well, I mean, you'd have to at some point. Like, and that's kind of what this is all. Like, for me, it's never been about making money or getting famous. It's been about finding people who feel this way. It's like, if you can't find them in your person, like, that's what the internet. I mean, that's all the internet was when I got onto the internet. The internet was not a place where people got famous or made money. I was on the internet in 2001. Like, I didn't hear about people making money on the internet. Like, obviously there was the .com bubble and, like, people making stores and websites, but, like, making content as, like, for an aggregator website as a job, I found out about in 2012 through Game Grumps. You know, like, I had no concept of the internet as a place where you go to chase clout and, you know, make money. Like, it was just a place to find people who actually watch anime, like, and can talk about it. You know, I was an anime blogger for 7 fucking years with no audience except for other anime bloggers. Like, we all just commented on each other's posts. So in my mind, I never understood why the YouTubers don't talk to each other. Like, they just, like, unless they are in a clique, they just don't. Like, they don't comment on each other's videos. There's no, like everybody.
Privately, right?
Some of them do, but it depends on who. Like I said, if they're in a group of friends, and I would say that the smaller Anitubers are way more connected and social. The big ones, they don't do that. And it's because
saw a podcast with Giguk in Mother's Basement. They're best friends with Anime Man and Super Eye Patch Wolf. It's true. It's
It's
Dude,
because
when you be on Trash Taste podcast is what I'm asking.
On whose podcast?
Trash Taste.
I have no idea who that is.
That's Giguk and Anime Man and some other guy.
Oh, I didn't know they had a podcast.
Yeah, Nate really wants to be on it.
Yeah, Nate wants to be on it, which is hilarious. He keeps
But Nate doesn't make anime videos, so I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Why doesn't he just go on it? Like, how hard would it be?
No, it's ask? I mean, yeah, he would have to ask, but he doesn't want to.
He's just shy.
He wants to be invited, is what you're saying.
Precisely, because he's an insecure asshole who, anyway.
Yeah.
Like you were invited on this podcast. Why doesn't he just come on our podcast?
I'm gonna laugh. Just because of, like, you saying that, like, I could probably literally tell May about this podcast and she will ask to be on it immediately.
Fuck yes,
like,
please do.
She'll just be like, oh, let me on there. Like, I need that. That's a good boost, you know?
Well, I don't think it'd be a good boost. We're much smaller than her. I don't know why you came on, to be frank.
No, I meant their podcast.
Oh, their podcast.
The one that Nate wants to be on. I'm saying that she could, like Nate is waiting for them to give him a call. She would probably just call them and get on, because it's probably not that hard. Like, podcasts are usually, like, everybody has this imagination that, like, oh, maybe, like, one day I'll have a reason to go on this. Like the Dick Show, right? I could go on the Dick Show literally anytime I want. I could do it. He doesn't care. He just, if you have something to say, then he will bring you on because you have something to say. You know, so it's like, for me, I know I have this option anytime in my mind. I just wait until I have something that I know is appropriate for the Dick Show, and then I go on, you know? Like, but it's just a matter of like, you know, having something, alerting them, and then getting in. And they'll take anybody who's relevant to the thing, you know? It's just like, you just have to present yourself as relevant. If this makes sense. This is my advice to all you people listening who are like, I really want to be on this, like, I really want to call in, but like, what if I suck? It's like, doesn't matter if you suck, just have a relevant topic. If you don't have a relevant topic, don't call in.
Yeah, just be cool.
You don't have to be cool to be on the show.
No,
You really don't. Just show up in the. We have Kajoro on the.
Don't be mean to Kajora.
I'll be mean to Kajoro if I
He's
want to be.
ethnic.
He's Kajoro. That's all I'll say. Checked another thing in there, by the way.
C-Tool, not C-Tool, Digi. C-Tool posted another great picture of you.
Let's see.
Magical
Oh wow, that's extremely
that's
fucking
me?
cute.
Yeah.
Adorable. I have huge tits in this picture.
Oh, it's more like it's a heart shaped neckline, and then I accidentally made that into huge tits, and I'm like, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to have huge
Okay, I
tits?
see.
I like hardly watch any fucking Maho shoujo,
Communist.
but I've been watching fucking Fun Pharmacy with Plunder and Starman, and we might like talk about that in a show, which will be cool, and I'm excited about it.
I know there's a huge risk of this becoming a meme if I say it, but I'm willing to take that risk because it will be hilarious, and if this actually comes to fruition, then it'll pay off. But hold on,
Work through it. Mm-hmm.
I am planning on doing HRT. I
Yes.
will grow tits, and if they don't,
those tits.
if they don't
tits
grow,
so much.
if they don't grow very much, May has made it very clear her intention to take me to the titty shop like a rapper.
Fuck
So,
yes.
May wants to buy me fake tits. Is what I'm trying to say, and I'm down. I don't know what size she's gonna want, but I'll take whatever she
As big
suggests.
as possible, from what I hear. She is a tits girl.
She does like the
Oh yeah,
tits.
she is a tits fag.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, we were at a sex store today, and she pointed out a pair of tits that she was like, "Oh, I want like, I would like it if you had tits like that." They were not like exceptionally huge, probably like D cup.
I assume
But
these are
like,
on a woman working at the store.
In that picture.
That's
what I was imagining.
Oh, okay.
But like, yeah, I was like, she was like, "Oh, I hope they grow to be that size on HRT," and I was like, "There's no chance. Like, I'm in my 20s. They're gonna grow like an inch. You will have to buy me tits if you want them to look like that." Like, because I don't think I think like how much your tits grow on HRT has partially to do with your age, right?
Is that
like,
true?
I'm already.
I mean,
Oh,
partially
geez, I
to do
better
with
get on
your
that
age,
shit.
and then also partially to do with like your diet and stuff. Like if you're not
Right.
having enough fats and stuff, well, the fat's not going to go to your titties.
So basically, I have to like get fat while I do HRT in order to get fat tits, and then try to find a way to only lose the fat.
I
in
mean,
the...
That's
I'm
a
sure
sequel to
there's,
Fat and
like-
Dangerous we all need.
Yep.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
It's more
Fat
like
and lactacious.
Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah, baby. It's
Can
more
you do me
like
a favor? Can you do me a
yeah.
favor, Digi? In my Digi Bros Dead video, I say the words better than the devil instead of fatter than the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Can you retcon that so I'm right?
No, definitely.
It's fatter. It's fatter, you coward. You fool.
No, but like make like an alternate version where they you say the thing I say.
you will constantly, you
made
will
fun of.
eternally look like a fool, dude, and you can't get past it.
No, I didn't think people would fucking watch it. It was a late night vlog.
fool. People like you. You're cool. Take that.
So embarrassing. People like, oh my god, this is a video. I was like, no, please stop. Watch my Neko Power video. It's a lot funnier.
How
I think
embarrassing.
I think about it, and it's actually not that hard to be deader than Christ, right? Like, because he is
Christ
alive.
is pretty dead.
Yeah.
He was dead, but only briefly.
He got better.
Well, he's been dead
no,
for like
but
2,000 years.
That's the thing. He is dead, and if you are deader than Christ, then that is an accomplishment. I always thought that was the meaning.
Well, I mean, the idea. sure, but I mean, he came back to life after 3 days, according to the stuff. So like
the fables.
So to like the suggestion, if you are dead, like all you have to do is be dead for 3 days or more to be deader than Christ. So
that
I guess it's still an accomplishment.
Yeah,
because he's the only one who's actually pulled off the comeback.
that sick trick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can die.
You gotta stick the landing, or else you don't get the scores.
I'm more interested in how you qualify how gay God is.
Well, no. I can explain this because God, gay means like just like weird and fringe and like hard to understand.
That's homophobic, Simon.
No. These are Digi's words. Disavow.
This was how I explained it. I mean, granted, I do think this was like okay. I mean, I am gay.
It's fringe from society.
I am gay. So like in retrospect, it's just like, yeah, gay and dead. It's like the part of me that is gay is dead because I am a gay woman. But like, yeah, at the time, I literally couldn't understand it. Like it took me so long to come up with the explanation I did give. Mm-hmm. And even when I explained it, I said like, people have been asking me this and I haven't been able to figure out why why I'm so into the name gay and dead. Because it came to me. Well, it was at the time, me and Ben were just saying, I'm gay all the fucking time. Because we'd walk around the house and just say I'm gay as much as humanly possible. And then, like, when we were doing RadCon 2, we were doing this Ape Escape Let's Play, and I just said, like, I'm gay and dead. Yeah, gay and dead. That's my next album. And then, like, a few days later, like, after RadCon 2, I was walking around on the beach. This is possibly the deepest Digibro lore there is, if anybody actually saw these clips, because it was Snapchat and they only existed for 24 hours. But I was walking on the beach and just at like midnight and did a bunch of Snapchats of me like rapping random lyrics as they were coming into my head, one of which was the full chorus of Fat and Dangerous. Shit. That was like the first thing decided of the entire album was like, okay, gay and dead. What does it mean? Gayer than God, deader than Christ. What about the devil? Fatter than the devil.
No.
And then, I did the whole chorus into my Snapchat, and then like all the central pillars of the album were decided then under the full moon on the beach on Snapchat. And then like the rest of the album was built around like what I had posted on Snapchat that night, basically. Sick. Conceptually. So yeah, like it's such a deeply seated impression, and I think that's what made it such a powerful album. Like, it's everybody's favorite of mine, and I think it's because it had the longest gestation period. It's like it existed as an idea. The idea sat there in my mind. It worked its way through. Certain lyrics were made. Certain tentpole songs were made. Then eventually, the rest of it finally just bled out.
I mean.
Yeah, God is gay because the unknowableness of God to you is similar to the unknowableness of being gay to normies or people who aren't gay.
I thought God was gay because Judas actually cheated on Jesus, and that's why he's the real betrayer. He's just a filthy adulterer.
Because he's a homebreaker.
Jesus was willing to like spend the rest of their lives together. Like he pushed aside Mary Magdalene, and then Judas was like, "Nah, Brad, you're worth like 2 silver to me." And he's like, "No, my heart, my kokoro."
There's definitely sexual tension between Jesus and Judas for sure.
Yes.
100%.
All right,
Thank
we
you
have
for
to wrap this
listening to
up.
my Bible
I'm getting
fan
hungry.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have another thing to go record, don't you?
Oh yeah, I do. I do gotta do that.
Well, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, we can't wait for it. Thank you for being on the Drawcast, where we all draw, but today we just sat down and talked to Digibro.
Digi-née.
I drew pictures. It was good.
She drew so many good pictures. They were so good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
We should do this more often.
Easily the poorest performance of any of us, but nonetheless,
Practice makes perfect.
I like the one I did of Seatuol's character.
That's
the only one
that
was the only one that I was actually like had an inspiration and like did a unique pose.
I'm really into the one you did of Dune's character. That's my favorite.
I mean that's literally just the same as the drawing that was on the OC board though. Like it's just a copy. I mean, I guess it has a flair in that like I gave her like a little bit more of a, I guess she's a little angrier in my not as deadpan.
That's fitting because I'm a copy of you, but a little more angrier.
It's okay, Digi. This channel is the home of derivative content. There's nothing original here, so no shame, girl.
There's nothing original in the world. All my content is derivative. I just don't get called out for it because it's like people
petty or whatever.
People don't ask. People don't like. There's so many questions that I'm always prepared to answer that nobody asks, and it's just like I'm always just waiting for somebody to be like, were you trying to sound like, this YouTuber in this video? And I'm always like, yeah, somebody got it. Like, I always fucking heart that comment, pin it. Like, you understood. You got I want you to figure out my influences. It's like a game. Because for me, it's so much fun to figure out, like, as I'm watching anime and I'm like, I watch Hibari-kun and I'm like, this Ranma literally ripped this off. Like, Ranma literally ripped off Hibari-kun. The first episode in particular, just beat for beat, man.
What's the difference of dates between them?
Hibari was first, but because it was in the early 80s. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, like, it's not that I'm not calling Ranma like a plagiarized or something, but it was just very obvious that Hibari was like a direct influence on it with like the structure of the show and also the first episode, and the fact that they're both like taking a similar approach to gender bending, but like whereas Hibari is just like straight up a trans girl, like Ranma doing the gender switch thing I think was a very fucking wise, Takahashi knew. She knew where the big money was. Hibari-kun, by the way, was a Shonen Jump manga. It was a majorly popular manga. It was only stopped because the author just didn't want to do weekly manga anymore. But like
commendable.
The author, there's an interview where he says, I almost feel weird saying he, but Japan has different approach to gender, but
pronouns, right?
I guess so. But yeah, they literally said like all of my art comes from the place of wanting to be born a girl, like wishing I had been born a girl. And I was like, okay, so this is like, in my mind, objectively a trans manga. Like there's no question that's the intent. Whereas like with Ranma, it's like the fact that the intent is questionable is the point. That's the mystery. That's what keeps them coming back. Because if you just give them the answer, they'll shy away because they'll say, no, that's not me. Oh, I don't want to be a girl.
But it is.
But what if I could turn into one freely, though? What if I could go back and forth freely, though?
That's the extent of my transness goes, my eggness, you could say. Because I like being a hyper-masculine guy, but I would not. I'd do anything as long as it's hyper, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, I know what you mean.
Having the ability to just switch between would be. Yeah. You can't be like a feminine guy. It's not the same thing. I understand. Guy and a hyper masculine woman.
I understand gender fluidity. Woman. I understand gender fluidity better through observing May, who is somebody who does genuinely have like you. She likes to be hyper, one or the other. But like for me, acting masculine is always a parody in my mind. Like to me, it's just funny, and like that's why it was so. Like, my character to me has always been an obvious self-parody. Like, the joke is that he looks like that I look like a hobo. That this person, that I literally said he because I disassociate so hard from myself, and I didn't even understand that wasn't normal until, and I know I've brought this up 1,000 times. Simon's gonna be like probably quote it with me as I say it, but like the Victor saying on Digi Bros that I talk about myself like it's happening to someone else, and I was like,
"Yep,
that's not normal." Like,
hey, guess what? That happens to me too.
Yeah, and then like once I realized that, I was like, okay, like I understand why that's happening now because like, I just think to me it's just really funny to be cringe and like be over the top if I'm presenting something that's inauthentic. It's not funny when I'm presenting authentically because I actually want to be accepted. But it should be like, I guess I didn't understand that like it's not just about being cringe. It's about being honest. And like, if you're not being honest, then it doesn't matter. Like, then it's just cringe, I don't know. It's not that I've ever been, I don't consider anything I've posted to be dishonest. It's just that I don't think that my intent was being read, because my intent was for it to be funny and be a parody. And a lot of people get it and a lot of people don't. And the reason they don't is because they don't understand what it's a parody of, because they just think it's a guy who looks like this. And it's like, well, it's not no, it's a girl who's pretending to be a guy who looks like this. Like,
what a surprise that Egg Me got it intrinsically and didn't even have to think about it.
See, I'm the opposite of Simon, where I saw that and I was like, that's what I want to be. I want to be that hypermasculine.
Well, I think that's great, and like that's the kind of guys that I want to have around me, because that's the protectionary force that allows edgy girls like me to exist. Like, a lot of this, like, my mom she's not a feminist. She was never like a part of that. Like, she was not, I mean, in the sense that she probably wouldn't know what that really meant or like care. She would probably call herself a feminist at this point, actually, because now she's more plugged in and she's become like a turbo liberal. But like she literally, now I'm thinking about it, she like literally wore the pussy hat to the Trump thing. So she was at the pussy hat rally. So that's definitely feminist. But when I was growing up, she did not like talk about being feminist or anything like that. She just had the approach of like, she was just hardworking. She's just a hardworking woman. Like, she did not like. My mom does not like anything feminine. Like, she does not like the color pink. She does not like frilly stuff. She does not like anything girly. She's like actively repulsed by that kind of stuff. The only like feminine thing she likes is Alice in Wonderland, and that's just because she has like a strong personal connection to Alice in Wonderland. Like. But like her favorite version of it is the fucking American McGee twisted fucked up version. Yeah. She likes metal music. Is
Wonderland even feminine? Just because like the main character's like a girl.
I would say that I consider that okay. So when I say that she doesn't like anything feminine, I should say she doesn't like anything that's like, what society considers to be feminine. I still think the stuff that she likes is feminine, including Alice in Wonderland, in that it's highly emotional stuff. But like, because I kind of, she likes things that are obviously made, I would say abrasive things from sensitive people. That's what my mom's about.
She's a really big
and
fan
kind
of
what
Sandman,
I'm about.
Right?
Very bad.
What was that?
She's a real big fan of Sandman, right? The comics?
Yes, she was a huge Sandman fan. She has like every Sandman statue they've ever made, basically, in a glass curio. My mom has always been kind of a hoarder, but like most of the collection she would have had up to her 20s burned, because her one of her boyfriends burnt their house down when she was like 24. So on accident, but she's still the only name I've ever known him for is Dickhead. So, but he burned the house down and they lost all these comics and all this cool shit that she had. But like they had been big time comic collectors. Whereas my dad is not really into comics. My mom didn't really rebuild that much of her collection aside from Sandman. And I think, actually, I don't even think that was rebuilding. I think it's just that Sandman came out in the 90s. And so that's like the only comics she has, is because that's like what was coming out then. But she stopped collecting comics pretty much after Sandman, and like mostly collected Alice in Wonderland shit and System of a Down stuff. But like everything that my mom is into is like stuff that is, that is from a very sensitive perspective, but it's very angry, which is how I would describe like nu metal. Like nu metal is emotionally very similar to emo, but emo is fragile. Emo is people who are like, I need to regress into a hole and fucking cower in fear. Whereas metal is, if you don't like me, fuck you. I'm going to, you shouldn't have come to my territory, bitch. You're going to get your ass kicked, and that's more my mom's attitude. My mom is more like she is sensitive, but she's like angry that other people are not sensitive, I grew up sensitive, but like with no appreciation for how sensitive I actually was, I guess. Like just kind of thinking everybody was like me. Like that everybody was the same amount of insecure and not really, like, I never thought anybody had, like, bad intentions, you know? Like, it took me a really long time to stop being super naive, to not be, like, mega thinking everybody has my best interest in heart until, like, and, like, particularly adults. Like, I trusted all adults implicitly until I was an adult, and then I realized adults are fucking literally children, and they don't know what they're doing at all.
They're just children who are taller.
Right. So, it's, like, I guess just being, like, very coddled and, like, afraid all growing up, it's, like, it wasn't until, like, you know, I had to be, like, you know, broken. I feel like I had a very delayed childhood and adolescence. It's almost like I experienced what most, like, the level of interaction most people would experience in childhood, I experienced in my teens, and the level of interaction most people would experience in their teens, I experienced in my early 20s. And as a result, I had all those interactions at a time in my life where I was much more capable of, like, putting what was happening into words than most people, because most people learn all this shit when they're kids implicitly through interacting. If you don't interact at all when you're a kid, and then you start at a time where you know, are capable of explaining everything else you do, then it's like, oh, I can explain all these interactions. And then I do that, and then other people who have been in the same perspective I've been in are like, oh, that's what's going on? Like, that's why everybody's thinking that's what they're thinking about? Like, oh, now I get it, you know? So, but, like, even I don't understand it until I say it, and I don't believe it until other people say that they've been thinking about the same thing. Like, I post my videos with no confidence at all that anybody will understand what the fuck I'm about to say. Like, I post them, like, any amount of, like, authoritativeness that comes off in my writing is just autism. Like, it's just me not understanding how to make it comforting, how to invoke the atmosphere that in my mind I am invoking, which is, like, paternal or, like, calm and relaxing, you know? Like, in my mind, my videos are, like, not controversial. And so when they are controversial, then it's like, oh, I must have fucked something up, right? Like, I must have miscommunicated. And so then I kind of lean in on it. Like, okay, well, you know, like, maybe if I push things this way, like, I guess it's like, when I made the video, like, just shit-talking anime YouTubers, it was out of this feeling of, like, I can't figure out how to reach these people because I don't know how to talk to people. So I'm just gonna, like, set off a fucking explosion and then they'll all come to me. And they did. Like, after that video, I literally talked to almost everybody I talked about, none of whom I'd really talked to before, you know? It's like, it's literally tsundere shit, and I became friends with most of them. Like, it literally tsundere. It happened. And, like, it's so fucking funny to me because when I was, like, a teenager, I hated tsundere characters because I was just like, why are they such a bitch? Like, why is she such a bitch all the time? Like, the first time I watched Eva, I hated Asuka. I was just like, oh, why is she such a fucking bitch, you know? Like, Shinji's just trying his best. Like, you know, can't you appreciate... and I watch the show now and I'm like, Shinji, you fucking idiot. Like, she's trying her best, god damn it. Like, how don't you understand? And it's like,
no, I relate to Asuka a lot, yeah.
Well, not all tsunderes are Asuka, though.
But it's, I guess it's that, like, it's so funny that I, as a kid, like, as a 14-year-old, related to Shinji so much. Didn't feel like I related to Asuka at all. But if you were to examine the way I behaved, I acted way more like Asuka. Like, way over the top, way pretentious, way elitist, way accusatory all the time. Like, that's the way I acted in elementary and middle school. So, like, for me to not project onto her because she's a bitch is really laughable and just goes to show how much like her I truly am.
Whoa.
Yeah. Or not projection, but the opposite.
Yeah, like, running away from. Well, I just think it's because she was a girl, and again, like, I was so adamantly like, oh, I'm not a girl up to a certain point that, like, I think that I through this, you know, through dysphoria, think about gender more than is normal. Like, people keep asking, like, why do you think about gender so much? And it's like, because I'm in this predicament. Like, you wouldn't unless you were dealing with this. And then all of a sudden, everything is gendered because that's the only way you could think about anything because you're trying to make sense of yourself, you know? And, right. And so, like, I think that on some level, I just never allowed myself to project onto female characters because I saw it as like weird or gross, as like, oh, they'll know I want to be that, you know, like they'll know that I want to be, and they'll make fun of me for wanting to be that, you know? And so like throughout my career, that's why I've always had avatars of cartoon versions of myself, because it's like, it has to be as accurate to the real me as possible, or else it feels like I'm putting on a show, you know? And I don't want people to think that I'm like, I don't want people to point out that I'm insecure about the fact that I don't look like an anime girl, you know? Like, I don't want to be reminded of that by the trolls, you know? So I'm just going to post a picture of what looks like me. And even now, it's kind of like that in the sense that, like, yes, I made it look like a girl version of me, but it still looks like a plausible take on me because I want people to... I want you to think it's me. I don't want you to think it's a character I made up that I'm trying to look like. I want you to think that it is plausibly what I look like, you know? And I think when you read the tweets and you look at the picture, you feel like it's coming from that person. Similar to Mia Cyber Angel, Black-Hearted God damn it. Mia Black-Hearted Cyber Angel Baby, or BPD God, as she's known on Twitter, who is a hardcore schizo poster and has a picture of like this, like, you know, this pretty looking like Japanese mixed girl with a face mask on, and like it's the image that you most wish was making these tweets. It's obviously not real. Like,
no,
everything about this person, if you look into them, it's obviously not real, but you want it to be real so bad that it's impossible to read the tweets and not think they're coming from this person. And that's how I at least feel when I look at my own tweets with this avatar, is that I want it to be coming from that person so badly that I just believe it.
Mm-hmm. The moral of the story is dissolve the meat space, we can become whatever we want in the Wired, and death to America.
Can I finally become Cicada?
Yes.
Just
It's funny, Digi, that you was so, I don't know, something about identifying, using anime girls as profile pictures, because from, like, all throughout middle school, I used Haruhi from Ouran High School Host Club as my icon.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's an anime character I probably identify with the most. Because in the first episode,
that makes
where
sense.
she's like a guy the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Or she presents as male, basically. And at the end, they're like, "Oh my god, you're a girl." She's like, "Yeah, like who cares, bro? Lol." And I was like,
Right.
"Damn,
I mean, I don't even think she was intentionally presenting as male.
No,
I think
she
they
was
just assumed.
I know,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's just wearing baggy clothes and glasses,
Right.
and they're like, "Yeah, you're a guy. You're here, gay dude."
I mean,
And
literally,
it's
the
like,
ending of that episode is just like that scene in fucking, god damn it, Gumball, where did you just assume my gender? And
Oh my God.
ripples out like power. Yeah, that is that scene.
Harvey, Ouran High School Host Club is great, and I'm sad I can't listen to the dub like I did with the kid without hearing Vic Mignogna's voice.
And then you rewatch the first episode, you rewatch it, and you realize that every time one of the characters figures out that Haruhi's actually a girl, then a light bulb shows up. And I didn't know the first time. Not the first time I watched it, because I didn't. Well, I was like 17 when I watched it for the first time. I was
too old. That's
not.
That makes it worse.
Dude, no.
I told you. I told 12. You. I had. My media literacy was dog shit until I started actually actively analyzing.
Yeah, you decided
to
become wise.
And even then, I know that everybody else feels the exact opposite, but I feel like none of my shit was good until I started smoking weed, because I had to experience ego death in order to understand art in the way that I do now. And I managed to do that on just weed. But it
like takes most artists harder shit.
Well, it was a combination of weed and Hayao Miyazaki films. But
yes.
You know, when you stare at digital, or when you stare at hand paintings of beautiful art landscape, beautiful, verdant landscapes, then while you're high, then you're just like, dude, I feel one with everything, but specifically as Miyazaki sees it, and no other way. And so from that point forward, I dedicated my life to trying to build Laputa, and that's what I'm trying to do.
That's a good goal.
Yeah.
I've been recording for nearly 3 hours.
Yeah, you said you needed to go like half an hour ago, did you?
Sorry.
No, we should apologize. We kept you.
I'm stopping by recording.
All right.
Okay, this is the end of the show, everybody. It was fun. It was great. It was quality. But we're gonna stop recording now. What if we say after this is a secret?
Sayonara, Mina-san.
Join the server. Follow our Twitter. Like, comment, subscribe, draw along, all that good YouTuber shit. Bye.
Bye.